me know when you're all set. How are you? Good.
Okay.
All right, good evening. Welcome to the September 22nd Board of Selectmen's meeting. We're just coming out of a short non-public and paperwork session. Start the meeting with a pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, first up, it will be the review and approve of consent items. In tonight's consent folder, we have the accounts payable manifest for September 16th for $33,158.97. For September 23rd for $66,690.90. We have payroll manifest for 9/18, $67,437.56. For September 25th, $77,253.65. We have a August treasurer reconciliation. We have the MS1 summary of inventory and valuation. A facilities naming policy as approved by the board on September 8th. And the financial report on the budget, the MS 535. Do I have any requests to take anything out? And if not, I'll take a motion to approve.
So made.
Motion made by Mr. Leary. Do I have a second?
Second.
By Ms. Plansky. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0-0. Request for any additional items or any other business? Okay, and as I said earlier, we're gonna have a non-public at the end that's on the agenda too. Public input will occur no earlier than 6:45, probably a little later than 6:45, but first up in our business agenda is the approval of minutes September 8th. Everybody had an opportunity to review?
Make a motion that we accept the minutes.
Motion made to accept by Ms. Plansky. Do I have a second?
No, I'll second it.
Second by Ms. Queenan. Any discussion?
Always wait for Kim to talk.
Anything?
No, it's good.
Yeah, she's got it. She's
All
in
those in favor
Okay,
say
look at
aye.
that.
Up here in 14
Nice
times.
work, Matt.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained?
Abstained.
Motion carries 4-0-1 with Steve Gannon abstaining. Next up is the 2024 financial audit. Elena Korsak? Come on forward. How are you?
I'm good. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
How are you? Having a good meeting so far. Thank you for having me. I know on the agenda it said I'm a managing director of CBIS, and that's true. We have a subsidiary firm, CBIS CPAs, where I'm a shareholder. It's an alternative accounting practice structure, so called APS. So I'm not gonna bore you with that, but the information is accurate. I'm here to just present an overview of how the audit went. So the objectives for tonight are the reports that were issued, primarily opinion on your financial statements, which you have online as well, and I'm glad you had a chance to review those as well. And just a little disclaimer there that per financial statement audit typical AICPA guidelines, we opine on the financial statements except for what's called the RSI, required supplemental information, like management discussion and analysis, general fund budgetary comparison, pension and OPEB schedules. But everything else, as it says in the opinion letter, we do give an opinion on. And just to quickly go over the process and rule setting and overview of some of the actual financial highlights. So the audit process, in summary, we just collect evidence and test it for every material balance sheet item. There is, of course, two financial statements, technically government-wide, which is accrual basis, fund basis, which is modified accrual basis. So on accrual side, statement of net position, changes in net position. On the fund side, balance sheet and revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balance. So we basically do our testing procedures on all the material items there, in addition to any material amount that's disclosed in your notes to the financial statements. And because this is a financial statement audit, we do not express an opinion on internal controls. That would be an internal control examination. So I just wanted to make that clear as well. We do, of course, every year, we perform what we call annual walkthroughs of the controls. So we do obtain an understanding of it, and we sample it, transaction, and test it all the way through as part of our walkthrough. So we do gather that information. But this is a financial statement audit, and our opinion is on amounts and notes in the financials. Now, the rule-setting agency is GASB. They're the ones that provide statements to you on how to properly prepare financial statements in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles, or what we call GAAP. And some of the key ones on the next slide that were recent for this past year, 2024, there was GASB 101, compensated absences. There were some changes, especially to how you accrue sick time, but we evaluated thoroughly with the town, and the good news to your town, Litchfield, is that the change was not material to the financial statements. So that was good. There's a few more GASBs that are upcoming. GASB 102, it's another one that I do not expect to see it affecting you. It's called certain risk disclosures, and it is applicable for this year, 2025, and the audit will be after 2025 ends, but that's talking about different concentrations, constraints. The good news with that is, of course, you're gonna have certain concentrations, constraints in certain places, but really where this GASB is gonna kick in is if there is some kind of an event that's gonna trigger something that would require you to come up with like a backup plan to a certain revenue source or something like that that has a concentration or constraint. So that's why we think this would be rare to you, and we don't see it being applicable to you. Really, the only one that's gonna change your financial statements is GASB 103. And that's because financial statements are gonna change in the management discussion and analysis part. The biggest part of that change does not affect you because that's enterprise fund related and you don't have those. But the management discussion analysis changes would really be much more specific. Instead of boiler template language, there would be the why. You know, GASB likes to say why. Any number you say the change is, or that you bring to highlights, why? What are the underlying reasons that happened? So they're more focused on what the underlying reasons that happen in Litchfield, for example, that caused the financial highlight changes, and they don't want any repetition of boilerplate or just stating that there is changes. So that's the only one that I really see applicable for you, which is good news. And then we're gonna go through results of the audit. We gave you an opinion. It's in the independent auditor's opinion here on page 1. It's unmodified opinion. Basically, nothing had to be modified in your financial statements in order for them to be in conformity with GAAP. So that is the good opinion that you would expect. The next 3 items have to do with the other report, the governance letter. Really just a tiny report this year, only a few pages, because there's really no significant deficiencies, material weaknesses, or anything to bring to your attention. It's more just the other required elements of that. So we just required to say that there were no uncorrected misstatements. The few material ones are listed here. They're small. We are required to say there was no disagreements with management because we didn't have any. So, and no material corrected misstatements. They're just something we have to communicate, and it's listed in the governance letter. So that's that letter. And on the next slide, we're really gonna go through this slide a little more because that's really key to you. I think that more important to you is your general fund, the unassigned fund balance. So the unassigned fund balance at 12/31/24 was 3.9 million. So a key way to measure that would be on page 13 is if you have it on your computers on the financial statements, is where that unassigned fund balance is of 3.9 million. It's at the bottom. It's, you can see it's general fund unassigned fund balance. And you can see there's nothing else that's big on that general fund balance sheet except due to custodial funds of 9.3 million. But that is why cash is the only other big number, is at 14 million, because 9 million of that you already collected on behalf of the school district. And if you look on page 15, for example, your expenditures were for general fund 7.8 million. And you could see on page 17 that that's where that 9.3 is from the general fund reported, and that's where it's reported that it's due to the school district. Sorry if it's confusing, but that's just how GASB 84 wants the governments to report it. Because anything that has to do with you collecting taxes on behalf of school, county, they want it reported as a custodial fund, which is why on page 18 is where you have those payments of taxes to the school district, to the county. You could see it's 21.7 million. So really, if you take the 21.7 million plus your 7.8 million of general fund expenditures, that's about 29.5 million. So if you take that 3.9 million, that's about 13.3% of your 29 total. So that's basically where most would look to unassigned fund balance, and what is it as a percentage of, whether it's your expenditures or appropriations, it's similar thing. So, and here would be, it's around 13%, so that would be the key number. We're gonna go through a few more slides, which I'm sure not as key to you, and they don't have anything to do with fund basis financial statements, but this is what rating agencies, for example, what others would look in your government-wide financial statements for. And that would be your general obligation bonds payable, which you're not in a habit of issuing debt here, so it's a nice slow down because there was no new debt, and it's only 2.8 million at 12/31/24. And on the following slide, net pension liability. I know it's not like slowly up or slowly down like the other two slides, but it's all because New Hampshire retirement system measurement date is the year before, so and it'll be as of June, so like a half a year. There is a lapse there, so it's not measured as of 12/31/24. So really, when you see those ups and downs, those years, they just happen to be timing differences of when the gains on investments were realized. So it looks like it's up and down, but really it was mostly timing of investment gains. And then the following slide is the net other post-employment benefit liability. Now, this one, just to be more clear, on page 41, there's two. There is $255,000 that relates to your portion at New Hampshire Retirement System, which is the medical subsidy plan there. And then you have your own, which is about $298,000. So you don't see that, up and down here, because the bigger portion is your own plan. And you could see it's comparing to others, it's pretty low comparing to others, so it's not a big number. It's $600-something thousand. So that's it for those other key factors that typically people narrow in on government-wide financial statements at accrual basis. And with that, I will just turn it back to you for any questions.
Do you have any questions, or Ms. Klein, you have a comment?
I just have one, and it's actually about this. I'm on the report that's in our portal. It's like 53 pages. And I'm sure it's fine. I just want to understand why I'm reading one number in this report here. It's the 53-page one. I don't know if you can see
Page
that.
53?
You have the summary, I know here, but
Which page?
it's on page, it's on the bottom, it says 32 and 33, but it's really page 35 and 36 if you're in the display mode, right?
Where it starts with discount rate.
It starts with contributions. So if you go to the bottom of the pages in your portal, it'll be page 32 and 33.
Is
Okay.
that the document page?
Yeah.
It is.
32 and 33?
Yeah.
And we're looking at pensions,
Yeah, which is why I'm questioning.
pensions and liabilities.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Bottom.
the bottom paragraph on their version of page 32, on our
Yeah.
32, that liability number of 3 million, it says town had a reported liability of 3,592,000, right? For its proportionate share of the pension liability. I see a number like that and I was a little bit nervous till I saw what we actually contribute, right? We're on track. We have made our payments to the retirement, right? What is that 3.5?
Okay,
6
yes,
million.
that's a great question. So you continue funding what you've been funding, technically, the next 15 years, the amortization, I believe the amortization period that's remaining is 15 years from the Hampshire retirement system on your funding valuation. So if you continue to fund what you've been funding, technically at the end of those 15 years, you're gonna be to zero liability. The thing is,
Okay.
it's completely separate, so the funding is completely separate from accounting, because accounting takes into consideration all these, the assumptions that are used for accounting are not exactly the same as the assumptions used for funding. So the accounting comes up with a different number of 3.5 for your government-wide financial statements. And that's basically the liability per your, what they call GASB 68 report that New Hampshire retirement system issues. Now, they have also a separate funding valuation. And based on those assumptions is how you are funding the plan.
So, because the reason that made me stop was I always hear that the state's gonna have a shortfall in retirement. I think the country's gonna have a shortfall across the country in these pension plans. And when I saw that 3.5 million, I'm like, do we owe that money in 10, 20 years? I wasn't sure.
Not
So we're good.
really.
That's why I wanted to stop.
Not really, it's really an accounting
Okay.
calculation that's
All right.
separate from the funding.
Do you understand why I went, oh my goodness?
Yeah, that's a great
We're
question.
working on the budget now. All right. That was really the main question I had. I liked the highlights, summary of policies. I didn't know we had foreign risks. We don't have foreign risks, but I'm glad that you look at that.
Something gets before it requires
I
to
guess some people
disclose.
would, right? Yeah. Okay, nope. That was it. I appreciate that answer. I
Thank
appreciate it's
you.
not $3.5 million.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any additional
Did
questions
anyone else have
for
any
you, Kim?
No,
That was quick.
just couldn't wait to go.
Couldn't wait for anything else.
Oh, bye-bye.
Get me out of here.
Okay, did you have questions, Bob? No. Oh, good. Good.
All right,
Can I
wow.
make one more comment
Yeah.
on that?
Mhm.
I actually thought, I'm sorry she left, I think they kind of punted at the end when they said, we don't look at your internal procedures.
They do look at the internal procedures.
I don't know, they called it the walkthrough kind of thing, because we pick up a lot of that regionally.
So, to say that they don't look at them isn't probably entirely correct, because they certainly look at the process. And last year, I think you remember, there was some questions about, the actual process. You have to remember, so you have a very small staff. So management controls exist between the department heads, Heather, Karen, and myself. That's your internal control process there. They do issue a statement like that, and mostly for their own liability.
So the report was saying you two could move data, but you don't give opinions, because you're really moving data back and forth. I understand the separation of duties, that's what I kind of look for, because we usually get zinged on that one. So I just thought when they just made that little blanket disclaimer, I'm like, well, you know. I would just hope if we had an issue, we could fix it, that's all, if she saw one, or
I
their
think they
firm.
would like, they'd like to see more internal controls in software, in the actual software, which, if we move to an updated software, you would see. But with the software that we have, there's only so much that we can do. But I think the processes that we have certainly meet.
I think if you go back to when we started the auditing and we had the process problems, there was a lot of findings that were occurred, and there were a lot of things being fixed, and I think we got to the point now where it's a well-oiled machine, and NG we got a small set of staffs, they know their job, there's divisions and separation that happens. Is it perfect? Probably not 100%, but it's got all the right checks and balances in there, so.
You see a lot of Sneeds.
Say that again? I didn't know what he said, sorry.
Hey, anything else?
Nope.
Well, good, I think what needs to be said, good congratulations to the finance office, Karen, Heather, you know, and to Kim also for getting this thing done and coming back with a good report. So, appreciate it all. Keep up the good work coming up next year.
Yeah, you passed again.
6 months. 6 months, you'll have that tour ready again.
Next month.
All right, next up will be solid waste container proposal. This is yours, Dave. Come forward. How are you, David?
Good.
That's
He's
good.
limping for sympathy.
Yeah.
Is it working?
Okay.
So what do you got for us?
We're looking to, I think Kim can do it.
No, I think you can do
you're
it.
doing
Come
it.
on, you're doing, you're
Come
all
on,
set.
Dave.
Well, excuse me, we're looking to purchase a new compactor container for the MSW. They're 15 years old. The one of the three that I bought is out of use now. It's distorted, it's rusted, and it's not roadworthy anymore. So I looked into refurbishing it, and I got a price on that. I got a price on a new one too.
Yeah, it's $8,000 versus,
fix it?
yeah, $8,000 to fix it versus about 13 to buy a new one.
And they are 15 years old.
Yeah. I've seen it, it's got a lot of holes in it.
So
Yeah, I think Sean's, yeah.
the recommendation is to purchase a new one. That's what we recommend. And the source of the funds that we'd like to use is the recycling revolving fund.
Mhm.
And the balance in that is a little over $50,000.
Okay.
So for $5,000 difference, we can get another 15 years?
Yeah.
No warranty.
What else do we use that recycling fund for?
So, we put it on your portal because this is a question that the budget committee has been very, anxious about over the past couple of years. Normally, it's anything that is, related to recycling can be used, for the recycling fund. So, you know, you'll generally see this year, I don't think there's been as much as we have, but paying the recycling, you know, companies for any fees or anything of that sort can be done from this account. We did purchase
Garage doors?
a piece of equipment. Which one was it, Dave?
Skidster?
No,
Baler maybe or something?
might have been.
We used it for repair on the backhoe.
That's right,
Okay,
yeah,
Backhoe repair.
yeah.
yeah. Because it was directly
We
being used.
related to
recycling.
recycling, yeah.
Yeah. So, the money comes in from selling the recyclables into this account. You can use it for anything related to recyclables.
How do garage doors relate to that? I'm just curious.
That's where the recyclables are
Okay.
Yeah, anything that's
mixed
up,
and
anything that keeps the
sorted
building.
and,
Okay.
Yeah, even painting the building, you use the recycling fund to do it.
Okay.
Even
What-
the-
I'm
You're
sorry.
painting the building, we bought the sign in the recycling fund.
Yeah.
So,
Building, siding, roofing,
yeah,
done a lot with it.
it's been a good steward of it, it's been used to kind of offset what we'd have to go to taxes for, so.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it ebbs and flows with, depending on the prices of aluminum or wood, or, like, China doesn't buy our trash anymore than they used to. So now,
Right,
So some days we pay for them to take it away, some days
Some
we
days
get
we
money
get
for
paid,
it.
right.
Yeah.
And if I get gifted old equipment that has to have repairs done on it, comes out of that too.
Great question though, cause that's what the budget committee has asked, and they look at the spreadsheet and they wanna see what we are using it for.
Yep. It seems like it's a very good reason to use it.
Yeah, Dave does a good job at it.
You only gonna buy one? Cause the other two, the other
I
two
think
are-
I think we should start looking at the other two. I think we should do it, maybe one now, maybe
One
look
next
at
year.
the condition of the other two. I don't actually see the condition because they're pulling it, they're gone with it. By the time I get in there, they got it back on there, so I can't see what it looks like, but, they notify me. So I'm thinking, if one's going now, I think we should maybe plan on one next year, early next year, spring.
Is that something that would go into CIP? Or no?
Well,
Because
come out of
it's
recycling,
under-
it come out of recycling,
would
says
come
no.
out of
okay.
Come out, okay, would also come out of recycling, so no, okay.
I'll make a motion to authorize, Mr. Millen to appropriate $13,600 from the, what do we call that?
Recycling,
What's it?
revolving?
Recycling revolving account for the purchase of a
Compaction container.
Compactor.
Compaction container.
compaction, see, you could have done this, Dave. Compaction container.
Do I have a second?
Second?
Motion made by Mr. Gannon, seconded by Ms. Queenan. Further discussion? It's what the recycling fund is for, so let's use it.
Okay.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained?
You don't
Motion
get a
carries
vote.
5-0.
Get out of here fast enough tonight.
Dave?
I love it, I love it.
It's getting out of here.
Keep them moving in and out, let's go.
Bye, Karen.
Karen, too?
I wanted to watch that.
All right.
Oh.
There you go.
Next up, we have the Litchfield Emergency Operation Plan. Chief, would you like to come
Just in
forward?
time.
Oh, Kevin was here first.
What is Kevin here for?
Warrant articles.
Oh, warrant articles, okay.
I thought he just wanted to hang out.
That's next, Kevin. Chief?
How are you?
Good.
So, we completed the town's emergency operations plan, which is, has to be done by law every 5 years for the town to receive federal funding. All of the different department heads, I think there was a total of 12 of us attended 4 meetings. We, at the board's okay, a couple months ago, had hired a third party to do all the paperwork and everything for us. We finished it in late August, and now we have gone for our reimbursement, which was a $45? Yeah, $4,500. It was a $9,000 grant altogether.
Very nice.
Cool.
So there is a form in the consent that requires the chair of the board to sign and gets placed in the
With the document, right?
manual.
So we have to make a motion to,
To accept the plan, yeah.
all right, I'll make a motion to,
Oh, he's leaving, he's on call.
yeah, see you later.
The Litchfield Emergency Operation Plan.
I'll make a motion to approve Litchfield's emergency operations plan for reimbursement of the grant for $4,500.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Plansky, made by Mr. Gannon. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. So I guess I can sign it now?
That's a lot of work. That was a lot of work.
There was a lot.
138 page
Yeah,
report.
thanks, chief, and
think
thanks to all the
another 5
department heads
years.
that participated.
Yeah, it was very good.
Was it? Good. Nice.
Now you can go.
All right, next up is the preliminary review of the 2026 warrant articles. Ms. Kleiner.
So all the department heads, we've been discussing this at our leadership meetings, from month to month. Way back, I think, in 2023, we began discussing the need for a capital reserve fund. So I think over the years, we have constantly come with the need to replace vehicles, whether it be highway, fire, police. We need to have a plan that is a comprehensive plan for the town of Litchfield. And we've been very fortunate to get grants, both for highway and now for fire. And we will continue to always do that. So we know there's another Granite State Clean Fleets grant coming up this spring. We will apply again, and hopefully, but we need to have money for when we need to make purchases, especially right now. Highway has two vehicles down as we move into plowing season. Not ideal. We all have spoken ad nauseum about, I think, the police and their 6 vehicles. If we have a capital reserve fund and you have a capital plan, it's the Board of Selectmen. Comes, police need a vehicle because, their vehicles are down. It's a vote of the Board of Selectmen. It's so much easier if you have a capital reserve fund. Does require that you have a capital plan, which is a plan that the department heads would put together and bring to you, and you would adopt it. We started a capital plan 3 years ago, so it's not a difficult lift, and we would move. So that is our ask, to place $200,000 from unassigned, which we believe is still healthy and above the required amount by policy, into a capital reserve fund, and the department heads will put together a capital plan to bring to you for your approval.
That will leave us with $3.7 million in the account.
So we
Yeah.
if you could move the $3 million from unassigned to the capital, we might be able to get everything we need, but we'll take 200 and grow from there.
Okay.
So that was the first. If you want, I have a lot of data for exemptions and credits. That's a big conversation. So if we'd like to take some of the department heads who have other warrant articles, and we can leave that one for the last on the list, because I think it deserves a lot of conversation. So
Okay.
paving is Mr. Brown.
Try and make this quick and easy. I think we've all discussed this before. This went up into CIP.
Can you state your name and address, please?
My name is Kevin Brown, road agent, 9 Gibson Drive, Litchfield, New Hampshire, 03052.
Phone number?
Everybody here has that.
I think it's a ball.
So basically, I'm asking to reinstate the warrant article for $200,000 for road paving. When I first started here, I had it for a year, and then with the fire station came on, the Board of Selectmen decided to reduce the pain on the taxpayers a little bit by not asking for it. It's time to get back on. NRPC did a 2018 study of all of our roads, which was fantastic. They just contact us again. Next year, they're gonna do it again, and they come in, they grade all of our roads. So based off of that grading and, of course, what we look at and how we drive on them, we have overlaid probably the most that we can to this point with the $200,000 that we get from the state, from the state's road taxes. At this point now, we have to get into remediation. We have to get into reclamation. Reclamation. We have to get into actually getting deeper into roads. We have roads that are beyond the point of just paving over. We have to, either mill them, grind them, regrade them, and then pave them. We spoke already this year about Nessenkeg and chemo. I've got some piping down there, some drain water piping down there that's eroding, that needs to be redone. On the CIP plan, I put that up, and that's right around, I think it was $359,000. That's my estimate. I haven't had contractors look at it yet, but once we do, we'll have a better number. And that's way higher than what we have from the state. Right now, we raised $10,000 from taxpayers for road maintenance. That's it, $10,000. The rest comes from the state.
That's it.
That's it. Look at the budget lines.
I want everybody on TV, you understand that. Only $10,000.
$10,000 comes from
goes to
taxes for
this.
road maintenance. So all the maintenance we do on the roads right now comes from state money. And I'm gonna be honest with everybody, it's not enough. We need more money to maintain our roads, to keep them in the condition that they are. We've got roads like Century, we've got roads like the end of Pearson, we've got Talent. Just off the top of my head, some of the bigger roads in town that can't just be overlaid, they need to be reclaimed, they need to go right down. So that basically doubles the cost of the road. Cause now you're doing grinding, you're doing binder, you're doing top coat, any kind of berm, any kind of catch basin work. So that's what I'm asking for. I don't think it's not crazy.
So, Kevin, so the previous board put $200,000 to get caught up because it was so far behind it to get that report. And we were trying to do an extra $200,000 to get ahead of the schedule.
Right.
And then, you're right, the fire department came along, we took it out, it was supposed to get back in, then COVID hit, and no one wanted to put it back because of COVID and everything else, so that makes sense. But how far behind are we on the roads?
I wouldn't even say we're far behind. I'd say have the potential, if we continue on with what we're doing, we're going to fall behind quickly. We have roads like Cutler. You drive down Cutler. I did a patch on Cutler last year. Right now, we could probably overlay that road and get by on that. Talent up by Pilgrim, it's a mess. That needs to be reclaimed. Right straight down to Albuquerque, and then on the far end to 3A, that needs to be reclaimed. Pearson, could probably overlay some of that road, but the end by Century needs to be redone. And Century from Albuquerque down the Garden has to be completely done over. So it's not, it's not like if you look at the CIP plan, I actually go from 2021 to 2029. I go beyond what we've done and what we're going out to 29. You can see the roads that we've done in the $200,000 range. Now, there are a couple of years where we got some federal money from COVID and such. We got a little bit of extra money, and we were able to add into that and get a couple more roads. Instead of getting 4 roads, we got 6 roads overlaid. But I'm at the point now, I can continue to overlay roads, but that's not gonna help us on these large roads that need, more work, deeper work. And the $200,000 is gonna get me 1 road. You know what I mean? The $200,000 I have will get me Pearson, and then we'll be done for paving for the year. It's up to the people to decide. You know what I mean? Do you want to drive on bumpy roads? If you're okay with that, you're okay with that. It's not good for my equipment. It's not good for your cars. You know what I mean? It's where we end up spending a lot of money on patch, and we end up spending a lot of time out there, trying to fix it. And I mean, we patched a bunch of pretty good holes on Albuquerque. That's another section from Century where Continental finished this past year to, say, Simeon. That section needs to be done.
Right.
And if we don't get on top of that, it's going to be a complete do-over, if you want to,
So NRPC has assisted you
Very
with
much, yeah.
the condition of the roads and the development of the plan. Was it 2020?
2018. 2018, they did the last one.
And is it 2027 that they've
2026, next year.
Right.
Yeah.
next year?
Yeah, so I'm kind of beyond working off there from 2018 because, they grade it by quarter mile. So every quarter mile they grade it, they give you a 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's gone pretty much that way. If you look at their plan and you go by what we're doing, I could show you that plan. We jump a little bit because say we're doing Lock Mill, we're gonna do Jeff at the same time, even though Jeff might have a higher score. We're gonna do it at the same time because it's there and you hit it. So there's a little bit, every so often there's a jump, but we kind of went right by that. that scheduling, and it's worked out really well for us. You know, and next year they're gonna do it over again. I know for the next 3 years, without them doing anything, what we need to focus on, where we need to be for at least 3 years. And that's, like I said, that's in the CIP plan that we put in every year.
Okay. Questions?
But, you know, like, you know, and I don't want to beat it to death, but, you know, since 2020, it's been $200,000. It's 2026 is coming up, and 200,000 isn't enough anymore. The cost of asphalt, which I have on the top of each year, has gone up from $59 to $126. So that $200,000 doesn't go as far.
Isn't that highway block grant expected to go down this year too?
Slightly, not.
Slightly, okay.
Yeah, I mean, 197
Yeah.
Still, you can't
as
do
opposed to, yeah. Yeah, that's someone's,
That's $3,000.
that's someone's curbing.
Yeah, that's true.
We used to ask the taxpayers to kick in on this every year via warrant article.
Right.
But I see you have unassigned here. Would you consider going to the taxpayers to ask them for it, or?
Well, I'm not against it. I mean,
Yeah, that's a question mark.
Yeah.
well, I mean, but, you know, Bobby, even if it comes out of, if it comes out of unassigned, we're still asking them to approve it.
Yeah. No,
And,
no, I get
you know something, and like I've said this to Kim, I know it's I know we were coming out of default, I know it's a tough time economically, and I understand that. But if they're gonna say no, I need to put it in front of them, let them say no.
Yeah, no, I get that. I'm
However
just
it gets
thinking
paid.
If we ask them for the money and they approve it, then it's in the budget.
No.
If that makes sense, but you had.
That'd be a one-time.
I don't remember ever voting it down.
No, I don't think it ever has, been voted down. But like I said, you know what I mean, whether it's unassigned or it goes to the taxpayers, or, you know, 2 cents per thousand, however you wanna do it, that's up to you and the budget committee to decide. You know, as the road agent, I think this is something we need to do. And if they vote it down, then it's the people spoke, you know what I mean, that's on them.
Yeah.
I'm gonna vote for it.
Me too, you got two now.
Thanks, Steve, I appreciate that.
You got mine.
Of course, it'll be, the budget committee will most likely be forced not to recommend because of the amount of the warrant article and the
Let's
cap.
drop 2.5 of the voters decide.
Oh, in the cap?
Yeah, this won't fit in the cap, so this will definitely get the no vote, but
We
people
need to
need to
really,
understand that doesn't mean that it's not something we should have. You know, they can't vote on it because it won't fit within the cap.
we need to really work on the understanding of the unassigned fund balance, with the public. It's not something that's easily understood at times, you know, it's a big balance account. It does a lot for, takes care of our bond ratings and all those other things, and it takes care of the overflow from the school board, and I think if we just put it out there what that number is and where the money goes, I think it might be easier to use that. There was a big thing that went through about the unassigned fund balance last year, and our police cars suffered for it.
And I agree with you 100%, education is very important, but Kim did a education thing down the library,
Okay.
and
Website.
one person showed up,
I know, I understand.
you know, so we put it out
We
there.
need to try other mediums.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
continuously trying and
Well, I think
educate.
it's up to each one of us as representatives to get to our constituents and explain it to them if they ask questions. We have to educate them. We have to do a better job of trying to get little snippets out. We're trying to do that. And Bob, you're right. I mean, in 2018, it was a tax. It was not unsigned. So we just go I mean, at the end of the day, it would be, we have money in the savings account. We'd like not to impact the taxes, but we're also talking about, I think it was 18 cents on the average. So, I mean, it's well worth it. Our roads are important, and I think.
I'd rather
people are-
just have them see it and know that it's gonna
I,
be paid.
however you wanna go, it comes down to them voting for it one way or another.
Right.
You know, I wanna put it in their hands. If they say no, then they say no. And then we get back out here and people come in and complain, or say the roads is bad, and we say, well, we don't have the funds to fix them.
Yeah, it was like 23 cents the first time, 18 cents the second time. It's a small impact to get ahead of the curve and get the roads under the
Okay.
road.
So if we're gonna unassigned, it's a one-time hit.
Yep.
If we go taxes, it could be put into his budget No, it can't. It's,
Mm-mm.
the
Warrants
warrants
still
still
good.
good.
Yeah.
It's
Warrants
a
is
one-time hit
every
as
year.
opposed to be a
Okay,
budget.
so you gotta go
We can't go over the 5%, so.
Tax cap.
But if you explain that it used to, in the warrant article wording, that we used to do this, and then we stopped for 6 years, and then it's back.
Can't.
You
We can
can't
do
say
it,
that?
we can
You
do it
can't
in the,
give
we
In
can
the
do it in
voter
the voter
guide,
guide.
you
Voter
can.
guide, okay.
In the warrant, it's prescripted.
But at
what
least
can
it's
be
something
allowed.
to tell them that it's, was done in the past.
Well, the voter guide gets sent out, so it is important to put it out there.
It's another document that's frequently not read
Which is a shame, because we spend a lot of money doing it.
and a lot of effort.
And again, we can do it, well, we can only do what we can do. That's the unfortunate part. Are we gonna make any decisions on the, or do we wanna make decisions on these warrants right now?
That's up
Or
to the
just,
board.
that's why I'm asking the board. Do we wanna hold off till we get through some of the other, and see where we at, look at, like November timeframe?
First time seeing it, we need to
Yeah.
be able to swallow some of this.
I think what you are saying, we are in support of doing it, it's just a matter of-
Oh, I know, I know you are. We've spoke about this before, and I'm not expecting an answer tonight.
I
you know
wasn't
what mean?
surprised to see it, which I like that. I
Yeah.
mean, you have the same story. It's what's happening out there.
Right, and, and anything like this goes in front of CIP, so we've talked about it before.
Yeah.
They know about it, so whatever they're gonna report on it.
Yep.
And I'm always open to talk to anybody about if you wanna take a ride and look at the roads, I'm more than happy, anybody. Come on down, we'll take a ride and I'll show you the roads that we're thinking about doing,
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. And
Thank
do a
you,
video
Kevin.
of the roads we're thinking of doing.
Have a good night and good luck with the rest.
Thanks, Kev.
Alright, next up is a warrant for revised fire truck expendable trust fund. It says can't be done, so.
So,
are we
nope,
talking about-
that can't be done is, so the can't be done is related to the fact of we were looking for the funds to meet the match on the grant. The way the, explanation of the expendable trust fund currently reads, you cannot use that for the match. That's the can't be done part.
Oh, yeah.
That's to me.
So I thought that this is
So-
us to revise it.
So what we're asking for is to revise it, but I want to, looking back into the history, apparently there was conversation about including purchases in this warrant article, and it was not well received. So I want to be careful in whether we think that will be well received, and legal will work on the wording.
Could you share with us, please, the commentary that you're referencing? Or where you
Yeah,
get this,
where,
where you get the feeling this was not well received?
Yes, it was I'll email you the minutes. It was conversation at the board level when that warrant article was
Back.
originally.
Last year?
This was
No,
last
this
year?
wasn't.
This was
last
quite a few, this was years ago.
years ago.
Oh,
The
okay.
board has
Yes.
changed 4 times over.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So
Again.
I just wouldn't taint the discussion with the board.
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
wanna do it before. We talked about it's too restrictive for the fire service, and we wanna make sure it's allowed to, we can't use it if we can't replace a truck, we only repair trucks, we're not gonna be able to use it.
Yes, but if you're going to have a capital reserve fund,
Mhm.
now you'll have 2, which you could potentially use for it. If that's the will of the board, I
think I'm
just wanna
confused.
reach out, because legal will need to draft this article. If this,
So are you,
a revision's not as,
well, a revision is not that it's not, we haven't had a discussion whether we wanna do it or not,
Right.
but, and the previous decisions are not the matter here, but you're suggesting we keep the one capital reserve fund and just roll this all into one fund?
and keep this for the repairs.
And how much is in that, their expendable trust fund right now?
75,
75,000.
yeah, 75.
And weren't we gonna need that for the other truck? Is that, oh no, that was the impact fund. Okay.
It was impact, but.
Yeah, that was the impact piece. All right.
Then my question then is the capital reserve fund that you're asking for above, is $200,000 enough to start with? Because we're getting so far behind in our capital, especially when you think about cruisers, highway department, we're gonna eat that $200,000 in very no time.
Right, I think, sorry, I wasn't joking when I said the 3 million from unassigned would be
No, I didn't think you were.
beneficial. I wasn't, I mean, I think it could absolutely be 500. I just want,
It to pass.
we have to maintain a fund balance of 8 to 12% in order to be
We're at
in line
13
with
right
your
now.
policy, so I'm being,
So what's 1%?
Conservative
What's 1%
here?
of 13? Yeah, okay.
but the other thing is, which we did find, is fire impact fees can be used for the purchases as long as they're on the CIP plan, and that truck that we are talking about replacing was included in the impact fee study, therefore it is eligible.
And how much is it? Cause I just see it can't be done, not amount.
Oh, I'm sorry, I should take that out. That can't be done is a note for me to tell you we can't use that fund for the truck.
Okay.
For the purchase of the truck.
Only
It
for
wasn't,
repairs.
yeah, it was a note for me to remember.
Okay, but, so there's no dollar figure?
I'm sorry. And no, so if you want to have the, fire trust expendable trust revised to include new trucks as well as repairs, then we would get legal to work on the revision of that.
Yeah, I think we should do that.
It makes sense, cause, a couple of years ago when we talked about buying the fire engine, we had talked about buying a used truck, and it came up where we found a truck, but we had no money in order to go down to put down on a truck. So it's not like you can wait for a town meeting, you need to have cash available if you were to do something like that.
Okay.
I think need a lot more information on this.
On this one, we have to basically rewrite the
Well, I just wonder
verbiage.
if we should. Should we just let it dwindle down, not fund it, and just fund the capital reserve fund correctly? Call it a townwide capital reserve fund and not have a separate one
Yeah.
for the fire department, separate one for the police department, just have a townwide one that's funded, at least at a start correctly, and then maybe year after year, try to put
Add
some
to
more
it.
money in there, add to it so it
Okay.
grows. My biggest fear though is that for what we're setting it at right now, we could probably eat that in 1 year just with things we already know in the pipeline that we have to deal with.
It's true.
And impact
So-
fee is not linear either, right? Sometimes it's high, sometimes it's low, right?
Yeah.
We have a lot of stuff happening right now,
Just remember the
though.
whole idea that also at the time was, if a fire pump goes down, to replace a fire pump is about $45,000.
That's why I'm saying, maybe just leave it alone for repairs for the unexpected, and just, there's no reason to fund it right now, it's pretty healthy at the moment. And just try to figure out what the right number for capital reserve should be that would encompass all town capital assets, not just the fire or PD or the town or.
I think if you have a really good capital plan, you are scheduling it out so that you know, in 2026 what your purchases are, in 2027 what your purchases are, so that you can fund it correctly
You've got a budget.
and build it up, where we kind of have been reactionary.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Any more discussion on the fire truck expendable trust? Sounds like we have a little more work to do and decisions to make, so. All right, library earn time trust fund.
So, that is for the library trustees. Anne is working on the final amount. It's less than $10,000, but obviously, over time, this has been used down as people buy out their time. And also as there's been a recent retirement, right, that impacted it. So, the library trustees will work on the final amount, and bring it forward to you.
And there's probably a reason why we can't do it as a town-wide trust fund, right? Because they're the agent to expend, not the Board of Selectmen.
Right. been fortunate on the town side that we have been able to, use budget, our operating budget for the earned time buyout, and for any retirements. I'm not sure that's gonna be the case this year.
Yep.
And we may come to you and ask you for a transfer, reminding that in November is when our employees have the opportunity to buy out their earned time. So we don't know what that figure is yet because those requests aren't due until November. And once we get those requests, and Karen works on what the amount of money will be, we'll see where we are with the operating budget and whether we have to tap into our expendable trust fund.
Okay. All right, police vehicles, lease/purchase. I know, Bob, I think you had a bunch of questions on this too, right, from the last meeting?
On what?
Had questions about this in the last meeting?
Sure.
That was 2 weeks ago. I don't remember what I had for breakfast.
Okay. Another not surprise.
Oh, not surprised. So, I believe you have the paperwork on the quote we got from the company called Tax Exempt Leasing. It shows the cost for 3 cars, and that was based on last year's cars. I think there's built a little bit of an increase in there. So the number for 3 cars was 47,000 and change. So I put it at 100. You know, once we get the final numbers for what the cars will be next year, and I'm optimistic. Obviously, if anybody who's paying attention, the Fed just dropped the rate a little bit, and they're saying they're possibly going to be dropping them again a couple times by next year. So hopeful that that'll work out. So that'll obviously save us money. And I just want to go into why 6 cars as opposed to 3 cars. We have 6 cars that are our primary patrol cars, and then 2 detail cars. But my goal would be to have some of the newer used cars at that point be fully set up. Right now, they're not set up as frontline cars. They don't have the computers. They're missing certain pieces. And so I would want drivable cars, and, you know, I don't want to beat a dead horse. I know I was in here several times last year talking about how we had more cars down than we had available, and there were officers who were ready to go to work and had no car to get into. And thankfully, that never led to a shortage of services, but, you know, I'd hate to have to put 2 people in 1 car and only have 1 car patrolling the streets. So I want to have as many cars that are usable and drivable. At the moment, our average frontline car, forget the detail cars, is over $100,000 right now, and that includes, what's that? Miles, I'm sorry. That includes the brand new car that's not even serviced yet. I put that into there, and even factoring that car in, we're still over 100,000. We have 3 cars at this time next year. Again, I'm talking just the frontline cars that are going to have 150,000 plus. So, as a reminder, I know I've said this several times, most of the agencies in the area deadline them at 80. And obviously that's, you know, we're looking to double that. And I realize, you know, there's costs, and maybe other municipalities have more money, but at the end of the day, we have to have several serviceable cars to respond to calls.
And you've changed to different models, right?
We changed to different models, right. We've had a lot of problems, and again, part of the reason why we've had problems compared to some other places is they take the cars out of service at 80,000 miles.
Right.
And so other departments maybe had the same brand, but when you run them this long, that's when the problems really start to set in. And not only that, but we have problems with the electronics. I mean, all this stuff, once it's 5, 6, 7 years old, things just go on these cars. And, you know, if the light bar doesn't work, we have to take it out of service until we can get it fixed.
And unfortunately, a lot of the big ticket repairs that we're being faced with, they're repairing the problem so we can drive the car, but they are not fixing the reason that the problem is happening. So we're spending a lot of money on repairing the engines. In 5 years from now, those engines are not going to be any better than we're faced with now.
You're optimistic at 5.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say,
agree.
I would say way less than that.
It's because of the Chevys.
And the road agent did want me to point out that the reason our cars are in such rough shape is because the roads are so bad.
Oh, Oh my God, they're working together. Oh my God.
So if 1 out of 2 you gets approved, you just endorsed him.
Yeah, well, we have to work together.
Oh, okay.
So I watched, I think it was the budget, and they didn't understand the lease agreement. They're thinking you're gonna get 6 cars, and at the end of the lease, you have to turn in 6 cars.
Nope, there
But
are
it's a-
cars.
It's a lease purchase.
It's a loan. It's not a lease. We have to, unfortunately, what they call it a municipal lease, we have to take the word lease out of our verbiage altogether because they're not leases, they're straight up loans.
So if you were to get, say, it's approved, you get 6, you'd take 6 of the cars you currently have will be used as trade-ins, or some of them, you'll select which ones. And then, how would you do, would we go back on the 2-1-2 rotation? Or
Well, we,
The lease
That would be
is-
ideal, but
right, so we would run these cars and then at the end of the loan or whatever, towards the end, we would have to decide how we're gonna move forward.
Because I think that was their question, what do we do after the lease? They were thinking it as a lease, not realizing you'd keep it.
Right,
We're gonna
it's a
get 6
loan,
new
so,
cars,
right,
that
so
means-
then we reevaluate
Right, after.
again,
Whatever
at some
the-
point and say, okay, is it worth it to get rid of them? Because, just because it's just like a loan, just because it's a loan doesn't mean we can't trade them and pay off the loan and
But
and
it
all
seems to
those
me that
things.
the idea was to get a program in place, the cost would stay somewhat consistent across the board, and I think the way the warrant needs to be written, if we can do it, is that we're endeavoring into a program where the ongoing cost for life of the department is gonna be X every year, so that it stays in the budget. I don't know how we can do it, but it seems like it's gonna become a budget item at that point, cause we're gonna have, it'll be a maintenance program or a program to continue managing the fleet, so that we're not gonna see the ups and downs, and whether you replace 2 cars, or 3 cars, or 1 car, whatever that is, the cost every year is the same cost. It's gonna be tough when you first start it, cause you gotta, that's gonna be a 5-year break, but at some point in time, at year 4, you gotta shift out, take ownership, and then bring a new car back into the, to its fleet, but the cost will be the same going forward. Because the 2-1 idea is great, but every year we cut it, every year we don't get it, or something might happen, it's been, since I've been since I was on the board back in the very beginning, it's always been a battle. 2-1, no cars, 1 car, go get a VW, that kind of stuff, so,
Bike.
yeah, so.
This is definitely something that needs to be, we need to get out there and promote this again as well. We really need to
We worked
communicate.
hard last year, I don't know how much harder you could on promoting the
We
need.
did, but I think we all do. I think we need to get out there and talk about this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I like to think last year was an anomaly, but I don't think it is at this point. But I think people just were overwhelmed by all the things that were going on in our budget. But
You got beat up by anti-social media last year. That was the big
especially
thing.
around the unassigned conversation, yes.
The unassigned conversation
People
was
that
huge.
didn't know their, you know what, from their elbows were spouting.
So we have to get ahead
I
of
said
it.
it.
I think we just gotta take the bull by the horn and defend that and fight that off, but,
So what does this say? So it'll be a 5-year, how many vehicles?
This is what the chief was just discussing
Yep.
about for 3 cars.
Should be 3 cars.
So roughly, under 100 probably.
Right, it'd probably be right about 100. Again, I wanna make sure I have enough money to outfit, or actually I'd be taking some newer cars, so, but then I'd have to replace some things that would normally be moved because they
that.
wouldn't be moved, so that I could have the detail cars set up and have decent detail cars. So that we can just plug them in. If there's a car down or a couple cars down, we can just grab a detail car as it sits and go to work.
What's our backup plan if the voters say no?
Well, and that's.
Gotta be ready, right?
I
That-
suppose.
That's a great question, and it doesn't matter whether I ask for 6 cars or 1 car. If the voters say no, we're in the same boat. In fact, if I ask for 1 car with a traditional purchase, even if they say yes, I'm still in trouble. We're still going to be looking at 2 cars, then 2 years out with 180,000 miles on them, and that's just simple math.
So I think that the roads traditionally pass because people are driving on them and they see them all the time and they feel them all the time. I really do think that we need to get a camera inside some of these cars and really get what's happening with these vehicles in front of people. Again, I know I hate to beat a dead horse, but I just think we need to get some cameras in and just show what these cars look like, and pictures of them, you know, going by Edwards, you know.
Well, the public sees them at Edwards, and it's
All the
not.
time?
Great
They're not.
traffic
They're not.
deterrent
They're
is
not
what it
shy about it. They post about it all the time. How they're always
Yeah.
there, and
Maybe instead of towing them to Edwards, we can just leave them broken down wherever they are with the hood up. And let them sit there for a week.
And I think the hard
you know-
part is they don't look bad. They don't
That's-
look
That's what I was gonna say.
Right.
You get
So-
close, you can
Don't
see
look
the
bad.
difference.
Right,
Yes.
and it's under the hood and people can't see that and
What if-
so.
What if we did something similar to what the fire service does and just put a car up a week, a month, and just shots of it, the interior, the miles on it, you know, its maintenance log, just kind of highlight a car and go, this car has been in the fleet now for 5 years. It's cost us $80,000 to keep it on the road because of maintenance and da-da-da-da.
More information is better.
Yeah.
You know, I always have like a million questions, like, okay, how do we get here? You know, what do we spend every year? What is the actual cost of repairs on these? I just think more information is always better. And then make it social media and get better information out there by people that can actually answer questions in an environment that will be, you know, more open.
I mean, I think a trial balloon may take the worst car we have that's still on the road as a primary front line. Let's write it up, take shots of it, make it a beauty session for it, wash it up, make it as look nice as you can, and show them the interior, the flat seat, the bent over this, that kind of thing, and the wear and tear, and just lay out its history. And then let's post it, maybe get Sweet to kind of build something on the town page, on the department page, and we'll take it from there and get it blasted in place else.
Yep.
And let the dialogue start.
Put it on the mom's page, put it on the, you know,
Can I offer a suggestion? Just like with the fire service, the fire departments around have a gallery of their apparatus. And I think it would behoove the police department.
It's called fire porn, but go ahead.
It's called what? And I think it would really benefit you by, on your website, you create a section on the police cruisers. Because I hear a lot of people say, you have 3 officers on the road, why are there 12 cars? So you put up on there, this is what we have for police cars, this is the job function, it's like the fire trucks. Why do we have, 8 fire trucks? Because they all have separate job functions, and this is what each one does. And then at least then you can steer them that way. Then you do on your Facebook page, a monthly on each of the cars, what they do and the shape they're in. But then you steer them if they want more information to your webpage that gives a breakdown of the entire fleet and what their job is.
so you do an open house too, Doug, and you let the kids play in and around the fire trucks, and you have firemen there and everything. Have we done a police open house?
We've done
did,
several.
right?
we've done several.
We had ice cream
Several.
with the
When was the last
cops,
time we did
we had
one?
ice cream with cops, we had this, we had that,
And they
and
come
plus,
to
they
our
come to
open
their
house
thing
as
all the
well.
time too.
Yeah.
The touch your truck events. I
Yeah,
mean, we've
yeah.
tried the ice cream socials, the
Coffee,
pastries,
the
coffees. No one showed up.
We've
Donuts
tried
with the
everything.
chief, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
I think,
They just don't know how much fun you guys are to hang out with,
That's it.
basically.
I think the start of, like we suggest, and it was, as Chief Nichols said, creating a landing page of all your history of all your equipment would make sense, but starting out by picking up your trucks and getting the history of that out there, and then take all that same content and put it back on the page so there's a place to go back and see and refer it, because as you get that stuff out, as we get closer to the election, we're gonna wanna refer right back to where it was, right? And it's hard to find social media posts after it's been a day, sometimes they disappear
Put it on
totally.
the website.
And I would agree with Kim was saying, people look at the vehicles if they look new, they're newer models, but they don't realize, like, a lot of them, people are like, well, how many miles can they have? It's like, well, it's not the miles, it's the hours. It's, why did they leave them running? It's like, well, you need the car to start and go when you get in it, and sometimes in the electronics you have to,
Right, everything has to stay within a certain temperature range.
it's, like I said, they get the
Don't have
interpretation, they have
flashes.
a bunch of new cars, but in reality, they look good, but they're, they are getting tired.
Very.
Okay.
And then you have stats of downtime and the maintenance costs, right? People will remember that.
So with this lease, we can do a warrant article for $100,000? And we'll start to be able to replace, with that 100,000, how many?
6 cars.
That's basically the first payment for
The
5
first
years.
payment.
Right.
So every year we have to, that's why it has to be laid out, this is
So,
an
and
ongoing
so
expense.
I think can I make a motion that we do that? or
You were
do we
saying
need
this is
more?
for
I don't think we
doubles,
need
so this is
more.
115, right?
This is the warrant, we're gonna do it when we do all the
So,
warrants anyway.
47 times 2.
Right, times 2?
Yeah, this quote was for 3.
Oh, that was for 3, okay.
Yeah.
So
But
be-
you're getting a good, I mean, you're getting a good rate until
And
the
we're hoping
chief's
that goes
point,
down.
it'll go down. Most likely. This is the company that we have consistently dealt with.
I wish they
Been
would come
very
for-
good to work
for
with.
financing, not leasing.
So it's 47,000
Change,
right
yeah,
now
change
with that
that.
rate, 47 change per year for 3 cars.
Right, again, I would just call it an even 100,000, just because I don't know how much car prices are gonna go up and equipment and things like that, so.
But you always have some level of equipment you gotta purchase with the car too. that you-
Yeah.
Okay.
Gonna move over.
I like this idea when I first heard it. I like with Kevin, I like when I already know your plan. I like that it's been presented, it's been discussed, it's been talked about a lot this year.
Yeah, we just have, like I said, we just have to make sure that the voters understand that if they approve this program, this is an ongoing thing to keep the tax rate the same, not have it
Yep.
up and fluctuate all the
Right.
time.
Lots of communication.
And, yeah.
I'm in.
Okay.
About you, Mr. Larry?
Chief?
Thank you.
Captain.
Did you have more
I don't-
questions?
I don't think we should vote on anything tonight.
Yeah, we're not
Okay,
gonna.
oh,
vote
no,
on
no,
it
that's
today,
okay.
yeah.
But did you have more questions? No?
Thanks,
The-
Chief. Thanks,
The
Dennis.
next
Thanks,
up
guys.
is the town clerk.
Yep.
The 35-hour position, which will go to, 40.
Yep.
And so, that spreadsheet, needs to be updated with the current wage of, but, we will work on that. It's already,
Yeah, we don't have access to that spreadsheet though.
It's after highway, right?
We have it in our,
No, it was
in our
after-
hands, right?
Yeah, we do, yeah, we have the numbers anyway, so.
yeah, you have the numbers in today. As you'll see, it's
I'll find
no
it.
longer.
I will.
Please disregard that. It was based on the before
Look, there it is. Got it.
before the current, so. And then the next one is Chief Nickel is going to speak to.
Chief, deputy?
Back. So, as I've spoken in the past with the board, the fire service is at a challenging point. As everybody probably knows, no matter where you go, it's a challenge getting people. We're in the same boat everybody else has been in. I know last year, you know, we were able to get the extra person during the day, which we've seen dividends from. Our call volume keeps skyrocketing. We're actually, I just was looking at numbers today, and we're actually at the same numbers, or higher numbers than the town of Londonderry was at when they were staffing 3 stations with 2 guys, 24 hours a day. So we've actually made leaps and bounds in what we do. And the challenge that we're finding is that I'm spending more on overtime for both my 2 full-time people to be able to cover the hours from 4 o'clock at night till 6 o'clock when people are getting back into town. I'm also having the same challenge in the morning where our same 2 full-time firefighters, if they happen to be available, are going to calls from 5 o'clock in the morning until they're on shift at 8 o'clock in the morning. So we have that aspect that we're creating more overtime expenditures. We're constantly struggling to get enough people to go to calls. It's not like it once was where I used to have, or the department used to have a list of people wanting to get on the department that lived in town. We've been very fortunate that we have a lot of people that live outside the town that are too far away to come in as an on-call firefighter. Those are our per diem people. And we've been putting a lot of per diem people on because they cost they cost the townspeople no money at all to have them on a roster, but it gives us the expansion of availability that when we need to cover a shift, we have, people from Hudson, Nashua, wherever that can say, hey, I can grab that shift, and now you have experienced people walking in the door that are coming in. The problem that we're facing now, and I'm trying to head it off before it becomes a bigger issue, is I have a group of people that have been on for 15 and 20 years that are starting to dwindle off, and I'm doing all I can do to keep them on. I also have, as you guys probably all are aware, one of our full-time captains that can retire anytime. So what I would like to do, and what I'm hoping to get support for, is I think it's come to the time that we need to start having overnight coverage for the community. We do stipends right now, so I think I've explained in the past, we have an on-call officer system. So we always have one person that's going to a call at night, which is not safe. It's not a safe practice to have one person going by themselves. We ended up instituting at the beginning of this year a stipend to get a second person, a second firefighter to go, and it's been hit or miss. People, like to get the extra money, but then there's people that don't go. And as we're getting busier and busier, our remaining, we probably have about 10 solid firefighters. We used to have 30, and they all have other jobs to go to, or they have childcare they have to do in the morning, so they can't commit the time to leave at 5 o'clock to go to a call if they have to put their kids on the bus, or if their company isn't forgiving about in years past they would let people be late coming in, whatnot. So I just think this is the time to get ahead of it for the town, to make sure we have adequate coverage. I will tell you that as of last week, we just put 2 more paramedics on per diem. So we have a total of 11 per diem paramedics that are on the department, and we actually have like 1 more paramedic than the town of Hudson has for full-time paramedics. So by instituting an overnight 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. Night shift, I have commitments from a lot of people that are on these other departments that are saying, yeah, I'd take an overnight in Litchfield for you guys and come work. We have 2 rooms that are set up that we've been using here and there. Some people have been saying we have one that has a bed in it, and we have another one that has a couch, but we could easily put a bed, so it's not like we would have to do anything to get the extra coverage. And then we would go down to between the hours of 4 p.m. and 6 p.m. not having anybody at the station. And then it would, in the morning for 2 hours from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. until the full-time staff come in, we wouldn't have any coverage. But it's going to lessen what we're doing. We're doing right now, half of our calls are from 4 p.m. to 8 a.m., and they're running about 450 calls a year. So it's a lot of calls in the middle of the night. Last night, they went out 3 times last night after midnight, and then they got to get up and go to their jobs in the morning. So as much as I know that we're in not the greatest economic environment right now, I think it's my duty as the fire chief to bring awareness to the board that this is an issue, and that as much as I know there's other things that need to be done, and I hate coming back every year, I think this needs to be done in order to adequately protect the townspeople. And the funny thing is, a lot of the places that we go to in the middle of the night, there are people that have moved up here from all over, and they assume and think that we have 24-hour staffing. Because, it's like, oh, hey, sorry you had to get out of bed, but, that's what you're being paid to be down at the fire station for. So I think, there's an awareness level that, and an expectation that we have people already there. So the amount that we came up with was for 2 per diem firefighters from 6 p.m. To 6 a.m. And if, through a warrant article, And it would be a 12-hour shift. Like I said, I have plenty of people that could cover that shift, so our on-call could certainly cover the shifts if they chose to do that. But I also have the per diem people that are all certified and would also be able to cover that shift. The per hour amount that we came up with is the average of, so that anywhere from an officer to a firefighter, it's the same thing like what we're doing with the night and the weekend coverage. There's enough in there so that anybody that works, we would be able to cover their salaries. And the total price, I think when we broke it down, that was for after 12 months, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's for the.
Because I know right, that's for two, and I know the first year, it's a shorter period of time because it's after, if it gets approved at Warren in April, right, it's for a shorter year. So the 218,400
52
is
weeks.
based on 12 months, a full year.
Just a reminder that the state legislature passed a requirement that you have to now put 5 years of impact in your warrant articles. So, yes.
That's a good thing, I guess.
It is a good thing, especially with the leases for the
Yeah.
trucks. For the police cars.
Transparent.
Yeah, it's
What?
really transparent. It's gonna be ongoing.
So again, that's the reason that I bring this up tonight, and I think that we've been behind the 8 ball for a long time. I think that as the fire department and as from past chiefs that have been on, we've done everything that we could to give a very cost-effective department to the community. And the call force is certainly given 150%. But it's an old thing that is just going by the wayside. The town of Candia, which has been a volunteer fire department forever, now has 24-hour per diem coverage 7 days a week because they don't have any help at all. Nobody's volunteering and nobody's on call
Right.
anymore. So it's just the sign of the
Change.
times.
Culture change.
Yeah.
So these per diem firefighters, they're not gonna be the same people all the time? They're gonna
No.
be- okay,
You
so-
may have one person that covers 2 shifts a week, the same person, but they can't go over, I think it's 21 hours.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So they can't do more than two shifts a week anyways.
So there's no pensions, there's no insurance?
No insurance and,
That's why,
Pension.
yeah.
So there is a cost saving by doing it this way rather than trying to hire more full-time employees.
well, and also, just like what we experienced a couple of years ago or a year and a half ago, it's, every fire department right now is taking green people with no experience. But, your Manchesters, your Nashuas, your Hudsons, they can absorb those people because they have so many more other trained people. We can't do that because what we do, everybody has a job on our, within our department, all the administrative duties and whatnot. So we can't absorb that. So for us, the per diem is better because they walk in and all you gotta do is say, go do a truck check on this truck, go do a fire drill, and they know exactly what they need to do.
Okay.
Maybe the public's gonna start to ask how much is firefighting versus medical, especially at that time.
So right now, traditionally, we were 50-50. We are now probably 65% medical now. But it's a weird thing because obviously we don't create our own calls, but it's just the way that it's been. Most fire departments, Hudson, Londonderry, 70-75% of their calls are medical. But for us, we've always been pretty much in that 50-50 mix. And the good thing is by where we don't have an ambulance right now, you throw an ambulance into the mixture and number one, you gotta have 2 ambulances. Then you gotta have at least 4 people, 5 people on duty because when the ambulance goes to the hospital, especially today with the wait times, they're gone for 2 hours. where with us, when we go out for a medical call, the guys are, unless it's a bad, like a cardiac arrest or something, they're in and out and back in a half an hour.
But I think the stigma is, oh, the fire department's costing us so much money. But if it could be fire/medical, and maybe a different word for medical, I think people might say, of course, between 6 at night and 6 in the morning, that's
Yeah.
probably medical.
I would
That's what I'm
assume-
saying, I'm afraid of
Yeah, I
that
see what you
stigma.
Yeah, I would assume you're gonna
Yeah,
try
I
to
see what you mean,
get
because everything bad
EMT
happens at night.
EMTs and paramedics. and
Why,
Well, I
it
just
is.
don't want them to
Well,
think the fire
so-
department's
so
this
that's-
big
Yeah,
and
yeah.
police.
So-
I mean,
so
no,
the-
I mean,
so
like
this-
health
this-
calls like that.
To put the stigma away, anybody that's on our department is at minimum an EMT. Or unless they're brand new, that we just put 5 guys through EMT, but within a year of getting hired, they have to become an EMT, or they already come in. And so there's 3 levels of EMT. You have you have an EMT, which is a basic level. You have an advanced EMT, which can give, how many drugs, do you know?
It's about 22.
About 20 different drugs. And then you have a paramedic, who are the only ones that can treat children, and they have a little over 100 drugs, I believe, that's in their protocols. So right now, we have 11 paramedics. We probably have about 9 AEMTs, and then we probably have maybe 5 or 6 basic EMTs. So we're very good as far as advanced life care and everything like
Right,
that.
so we know that in the public, maybe if it's firefighter/EMT, would that, again, I'm just trying to make that gets all fire trucks.
Description, she's
Just
talking about
descriptions of people
description.
saying, oh, it's
Yeah.
medical
Just in the
too.
warrant article.
Yeah, if you guys support doing the warrant article, it would definitely be a firefighter EMT for sure.
/EMT, then they know it's both.
Yeah.
It's not fires, budget's this big and, that's what I'm just trying to say. And it stays away from ambulances.
Right.
My only, I guess, not a concern, but just maybe a fact, though. If you have a 6 to 6 team, it's a firefighter EMT paired by 2, and now a medical call comes in, Hudson dispatches an ambulance on a medic. Now I see one of our on-call guys coming out because they're a paramedic, and that's what that person probably deserves. So I'm just concerned that you're talking about overtime savings, and I'm concerned if we're gonna staff with no paramedic level at all overnight, then we're gonna have.
Why are you
potentially
saying
have-
that?
Because potentially what happens is when the call gets announced.
Yeah, but why would these per diem firefighters have less qualifications than
What
our own?
I'm suggesting is that we at least make sure, we tell the board, we're gonna staff
Oh,
with a
okay.
paramedic level at
Oh,
least
okay.
overnight, cause that's what, it's predominantly medical
Well,
calls at
the
night.
problem is, it's hard, more than likely it would be a paramedic, because, so right now, during the day, we have 3 people on during the day. You have Captain Kelly, you have Jason Nickel, and then you have a per diem person. We have many days, last week, there's probably 3 of the days, there's 3 paramedics on shift during the day. So then, but there's also a lot of instances where Hudson doesn't have a paramedic available, which we're gonna talk about tonight, I know. And we are sending one of our paramedics with them to the hospital, but because we have those 3 people, it doesn't hurt us because we have 2 other paramedics should another medical call come in while that person's at the hospital. So we're in a really good place, and at minimum, I can tell you, even if we don't have a paramedic, we're gonna have an advanced EMT probably on at night. It would probably be no less than an advanced EMT and a regular EMT on at night.
We'll likely be operating 90+% of the time at the ALS level, which is advanced.
And like I said, I know, just talking in the grapevine, I know a lot of paramedics from a couple surrounding communities. I heard that I was talking about doing this, and they said that if it passed, they would definitely join and do an overnight shift. So we could potentially could have almost all paramedics on at night, but obviously I can't guarantee that.
That's because they run the 12 on, 12 off, 24, whatever it
They
is.
work,
the
yeah,
difference-
24, 48s or 24, 72s.
So then they have 3 or 4 days off where they can come in and sit with us for 12
Right.
hours.
And I know,
Opposed to our
we
guys
we just got somebody on, so we now have 2 female paramedics on the department. We just got our last one last week. She actually works full-time on Hudson, and she works part-time at a hospital, and she would rather do this
Right.
than do the part-time job at the hospital. So that's why she decided to start with us.
Nice.
I like the idea, the only thing I think is the townspeople choke on the 218,000 unless they.
No, but, you know, but then I look at the other side of it too, is, like I said, I mean, my job is to make sure we have adequate coverage for the community, and I would think that anybody,
The numbers don't lie, data doesn't lie,
Right.
and that justifies the cost.
Yeah, I just think, the reason I brought up the whole ALS level or whatever, is that would probably get more support, because most people perceive that nighttime is when you're gonna have the majority of the medical calls.
I mean, I can try and sell it like that, but the caveat has to be there, because obviously, if a paramedic or an AEMT isn't available to take a shift, I'd have to fill it with a basic EMT.
Yeah, that's.
So I just wouldn't want to be, giving out misinformation.
I don't want you doing that either.
Right.
But I can see that you would end up with people that liked working there and would say, I'm gonna be your Monday guy, or I'm gonna be your Tuesday guy.
I had an AEMT last week. He's a lieutenant on Nashua, and he was tickled pink because we had like 3 calls in a row. Actually, we had 2 mutual aid calls, and he's like, "Wow!" He goes, "I should quit my job in Nashua and come work over here." He goes, "You guys are a lot better over here. I do more calls, and it's awesome."
I think also, it will cut down on overtime as well. It will cut down on insurance if you tried to hire. I think I would bring all of the cost savings into that warrant, really.
And I think that down the road, eventually, when we do have to have full-time people with benefits, it's not gonna be as hard of a hit, because we'll already have everything pretty much established, and it won't be a huge growing pain, it'll be a small growing pain.
Okay. Any more questions? All right, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, guys.
Ambulance revolving fund.
Okay, so
We'll get through the last 2 so we can get you over to the other contract.
currently we have 19,000, a little over 19,400 in the ambulance revolving fund. We just issued payment on 2,800, leaving about 16,600 in there. So far this year, we've paid 17,400. That's including the 2,800 that we just paid, and it's only September. So, finance is proposing a warrant article for an additional 15,000 to go into the fund. Just to be clear, these are bills that are not paid by our residents.
Really?
Absolutely.
I don't understand how that
And
happens.
that is not new, that is not just our community, it is communities across the state, that even those that have their own ambulance. Hudson also has, an issue with this. People are not, whether, we've tried to figure out whether it's people are not aware that there's a balance after their.
Do you bill those
Insurance.
people and let them know there's a balance
We
as well?
issue multiple letters, and then ultimately we send them to collections.
What's the success rate on collections?
Not very well, so.
Wow, that shocks me. I do know that Hudson, like, when I had to go by ambulance, they submitted my claim, like, weird. And Terry said it happened frequently. So I had to go back to them. And then they resubmitted it to my insurance and then paid it. Do you think it's anything like that? Terry said it happens frequently. The way they coded my call. Is that something
So-
that's happening? That
When you say Terry who?
Yeah,
Terry Briand
How would
told-
she know?
I don't know. Apparently, she knew. Peter talked to her, and she told him to call Hudson, and he called Hudson, and they dealt with our
What?
insurance.
Well, so,
I think she knew about the process.
Yeah, I think she just knew the process. I
well,
don't think she.
so,
I don't know why he asked her. Maybe it was just in conversation.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
we're
so-
talking about me as a citizen. not as a, a board member looking for information. It happened 2 years ago or something like that.
So,
Statement, medical billing is a pain anyway, they always
the
miss
It
only,
is.
the only issue.
I just would love to get this number down. To me, it's crazy.
We would appreciate if residents didn't call Hudson, because here's what happens. The resident calls Hudson, meanwhile Comstar has already issued us an invoice for the bill. So they're crossing. So if you have an issue with your bill, reach out to Karen White, and Karen White will reach out to Hudson and will try to help through the process.
Yeah.
But that is happening where
They're
may
denying
be
people's
coded
claims,
wrong.
right?
I mean, that happens
All
with
insurances
hospitals, it
deny
happens
right
with
away
doctors'
anyways now.
offices, it happens everywhere.
I
right?
just
There's
think
wrong
it's
coding.
crazy. I mean,
I
then
just-
the
I have a-
insurance paid it, and then we
I have a
pay
HIPAA
our balance
concern
of it.
about patients reaching out to Karen White about an ambulance bill that Karen has no information about and how she's going to get information out of the insurance company. She has no
Oh,
ability.
she's not gonna talk about coding. She's not, all she's going to do is verify that we don't have a bill in that resident's name. And we're going to flag that we haven't paid it. Otherwise, you may be paying for it and we're paying for it too.
Right, and I'm so concerned because I just know it was like a big rigmarole, and then I was told it happens frequently with them.
Yeah, we do not ask for coding information or any HIPAA related information. Quite often we'll ask for the invoice number and the your name or the date of service. Date of service is generally very important in that division too. But we are working on this with Hudson. The Hudson Town Administrator is obviously new. He has a new finance department. They're working on it with Comstar, and we're supplying each other information. They are as much wanting to straighten out this situation as we are.
Yeah.
I do know it is a conversation that we have contacted the state legislature about as municipal managers, and it's across the state. It's not us or Hudson.
Okay.
But until we get that figured out, we gotta have the funds available to pay it.
All right, when we have the context, I guess now we understand. Sweet. It would be nice if Hudson just said, if you have a building problem, call Litchfield. Chase it around.
I just got a text that said that Peter talked to Karen, not Terry.
Oh, good.
So
Good,
I
good,
was
good.
That was Peter, my
incorrect.
person. All right.
Yes,
That's me. That's very quick response.
Thanks, Peter.
Yeah.
thank you.
Peter,
All right, next.
Peter loves saying I wasn't correct.
He doesn't get to the often. does he?
It doesn't happen often, right?
All right, next
Thank
one
you,
is
John.
general assistance.
So, general assistance.
Welfare,
and
right?
We're asking for, again, we asked this past spring, we're asking again, that it be funded. The good thing is, so you'll see here, our request grew from 2023 to 2024. Still, the majority of our requests are housing, rent related. We have had some success this year finding people alternative housing that is both affordable and provides care for some of our more needy residents or older residents. So we have dropped that down from 32 to 25 so far this year, and the requests have seemed to level off, but we are asking for an additional 15 to be funded into that account. We have not asked for a request from the expendable trust fund to reimburse us for this year's expenses. We're kind of holding off. If we can see that we can make it through the operating budget, we will do so, but I'm not as optimistic optimistic, with the default and how close the operating budget is, we may very well have to ask for the 25 that we put in.
Okay. Then the next will be health agencies.
Health agencies. Health agencies we are currently working on. I've put the spreadsheet in your portal. The ones in yellow are the ones that I have received. And I've received their backup information that the budget committee likes to see on the number of Litchfield residents that are served and all that. I'm still waiting for Bridges and Greater Nashua Mental Health. And then traditionally, we have had a Litchfield resident, the health officer, which this year is Captain Kelly, and I have gone through the requests and made recommendations to the board. So if that's the process that you'd like to continue with, we will go ahead and do that.
I thought we had a committee that made the decisions after the vote.
So in the past 3 years I've been here, I was told it's always the health officer, the TA, and a Litchfield resident.
Okay, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
So it is
Yeah.
the committee, okay.
Yeah.
It is that form, all right, perfect. Okay.
That's health agencies.
I think that's it for a proposed warrant article.
Other than we're back to a conversation. And so this is a lot of information. I just thought it would be easier if you could look at the numbers that it's so you have some decisions that need to be made. Last year, Bob, I think it was, that the board asked us to look at the elderly exemption after the revow. 6 here. No, I have 5 there. Yes, please. I just, cause it's it's not easy to see on the portal, although if the public wants to
Easy to see
follow
on this piece of paper, either.
along, you can certainly try to do so on the portal. So elderly exemptions, I wanted to look at some different information, so I got some information from our census. And that's what you see on the front page to the right, town data, American Community Survey. Because I think it was important that, first of all, we isolate on the elderly exemption what could possibly be the worst case scenario. Forgive my terminology there, but out of the 3,015 households that you have in Litchfield, about 433 are over 65. That's worst case, right? So if they all qualified, that's your largest number. Currently, we have nowhere near that amount. So we have about 39 residents that qualify for the elderly exemption. And understanding that everyone's assessment went up because of the revow, I think the important piece of information to know here is when an elderly exemption comes in, their home in Litchfield is exempt. That's not part of the equation. So if their assessment went up, that's not part of the qualifying data that's used. If they have more than 1 acre of land, so it's your homestead and 1 acre of land that's exempt from the asset calculation. If you have more than 1 acre of land, then the value of that counts against you for The other thing is that what we are traditionally finding is if a resident doesn't qualify, it's the income limit. And so that's why I downloaded the information on your portal is the DRA, which contains all towns. For this purpose, just took 12 towns surrounding us. And so if you look at their income limits, they do come out on average higher than ours. Right? And so I think that is a challenge to some of our elderly people. Our asset limits are traditionally on the high side, right? But it's generally not the asset limit that's preventing these people from qualifying. The concern is valid with the reval when you look at what they will get for an exemption, right? Because if their $300,000 assessed house now just went to $500,000 and you're giving them $85,000, that's not helping as much. So that's probably an area that you want to look at increasing the amount of the exemption, because this is no way nearly helping these residents as much after the assessment, after the reval. So, you know, I found it incredibly interesting that the amount, so the median household income in Litchfield, according to census, is $155,000. More than half of the households are over $150,000. But you have some that are under $75,000 that are paying more than 20% of their income to their mortgage. It's even worse when you look at rent, but rent doesn't become a topic of conversation in this because you don't qualify for, you're not paying taxes on your house, on your rental property. So for an elderly exemption, it doesn't come into conversation. So I think the data shows that we're below in two places. The amount of the exemption that you're going to give them, because their assessments just went up 50 to 60%, and the income limit that you're putting on the single and the married in relation to other towns. I think those are the two places where we are going to be low. The good news about elderly exemptions is this is an amount off their assessment. So when even if you raised it, and I gave you a couple options based on the averages of the towns around us, if you looked at, raising both the single and the married income limits and the exemption amounts by 30%, which is option A, you're not even budging the tax rate. And why is that so? Because it's an assessment. So it's assessment data. And when you lower the overall assessment of the town, you have to do that by quite a large number to budge the tax rate. So the elderly exemption is a good scenario because even if you raised it either option A or option B, you're not making a significant hit of the overall tax rate charged to everyone. But I do think that the board needs to consider doing something because these people that qualify now are going to have less help. And the people that probably should qualify haven't been because our income limits have been low. So, that's the elderly side. Do you want me to stop there?
No, this is great.
It's a lot of data, I know,
But
but
it's-
that's why I wanted to
it's
give it
showing
to
it.
you so you could.
It's important.
This is a theme we keep hearing, right? Over
Yeah.
and over.
And so you have, and I think on my part too, I didn't mean to seem unsincere to one resident that came through, but when we looked at this a couple years ago, Litchfield was doing extremely well compared to other communities. Other communities have been updating these for the past 2 years. So, and I think I know 3 communities who are gonna have it on their 2026 warrant. So, as the assessments of homes have been going up, our other communities have been adjusting these. So, we're probably not in the position we were 3 years ago, where we were very comparable. That's the good news. On, elderly, it's not, I think you can make a significant impact to the residents without impacting drastically the others. That's the good news. Bad news is the veterans credit. So there was a legislation passed for service-connected total disability veterans. That's the veterans that receive the 700. And traditionally, they've received the 700 and the standard for 750. Our legislature passed a bill, and starting in 2026, April 1st of 2026, so not impacting their deduction on this year's tax bill, but next year's, they will no longer be able to receive both the 750 and the 700. So, the service disability exemption by state law ranges from 700 to 4,000. So again, we went out, we started looking at what the communities around us are giving, and it seems on a majority of them, they are anywhere from 2,400 to 4,000, where we're 700. I had the pleasure of speaking with the head of the Litchfield veterans, and I think they knew this data probably before we did, and the request was 4,000. Looking at other communities, I don't think, considering you're taking away the 750 on the other side, I don't think it's unrealistic. The problem is this is a credit, right? So credits are different than exemptions, and credits affect the tax rate more, unfortunately. So, again, I kind of, just to give you a place to start, did an option A and an option B. Option A, moving to the 2,400, which is only about 1,000 less, 950, more than they'd receive right now with the 700, 750. And so that kind of gives you about 3 cents on the tax rate with the number of people that we have now that qualify for this. That's the data we're using. The number we're using is our current veterans. Of course, you could always get more that apply. If you go to the 4,000, then you're adding another, it's 246, it's another 3 cents on the tax rate. So,
What was it, the 3 cents on the tax rate was for how much, 2?
for 2, and then if you, another 2, if you raised it to the $4,000 ask, it would be 6. And again, that's based on, our current assessments. I did use the projected 2026 budget number in that. So obviously if that budget number comes down, tax rate impact would come down a little, but it gives you a place to start. I was surprised at how many communities at least had 2,400 and then how many had 4,000. But they are losing their 750, so I think it's important we do something. Yeah. So, hopefully I gave enough data to at least start a conversation.
Does anybody have any thoughts about where we land? I mean,
I thought we were gonna make it 1,500, isn't that what we decided?
1,500 on,
Total, for the exemption.
I can give you those numbers as well, with whatever you'd like.
when we
I
discussed
know
this last
the
time.
ask from was 4,000, so.
The ask from the Veterans Association?
yeah.
But I'm happy to give you the numbers for 1,500 as well.
But the 4,000's for classified disabled vet, right?
That's
Or
service,
disabled.
yes, service disabled, total disability, and, I think I gave you the breakdown, we have 36 of those.
Yeah. And what would just a vet? What would they qualify for? The standard, right? Or you said you're gonna
Yes.
lose the standard though, I thought, so it'll be 750.
Right.
So then they would also, if they're over 65, also be eligible for the 85,000 too, right?
Yes, so if you have a veteran that is also eligible for the elderly, there's nothing preventing that.
Yep, okay.
But we're looking at changing that though too, either option A or option B potentially, or whatever we decide going forward.
Right, I mean, you're not gonna change the standard or the, all veterans, I mean, I think you are right in line with the other communities. We do not have any surviving spouses, which is interesting. But that is low in comparison to the other communities. You just don't happen to have any, that have qualified. I think if you were looking at changing one, you should change both of them to make them comparable. That's typically what communities do, but, I mean, it's 700, you could keep it 700 and not change it, but it's of no impact, we don't currently have any that have qualified. The good thing about both of these is they do not impact the tax rate. They are considered non-monetary warrant articles until they pass. The thought process on that is, you don't know.
We don't know what the impact is.
Yeah, you don't know.
Okay.
I have a question on, I'm looking at Litchfield, but if we looked at the towns around us, Hudson, Londonderry, and Manchester,
Are we looking at tax or the?
the average, did we get an average on those? Like, you had option A and B, but I'm just trying to think just in our vicinity here, even maybe.
On which one?
veterans,
elderly or
The one about the
veterans?
exemptions,
So
elderly exemptions.
okay.
The elderly exemptions, so the average is the, line right below the chart
Right,
that's highlighted, yeah.
but I meant just the towns around us, not Milford or,
Oh, yeah, I can get you whatever data.
Just the ones around the perimeter. I guess even Merrimack, if we want to throw that in.
Hudson, Londonderry,
Because they're pretty
Hudson.
high. If we look at
Yeah, I
Nashua,
can look at Pelham, I can look at
Hudson's
Wyndham, I can.
high,
Hudson's high.
Merrimack, not so much, I'm surprised, I've had a lot of.
Concord and Derry are one's below us and one's tied with us. Then you go to Hollis,
Well, that's off the chart, yeah.
that's crazy, but their taxes are also
Crazy.
crazy, so.
If you'd like me to take the two cities out and put in to other towns, I'm happy to do that.
Just a real average, and again, we don't have to act on it, but I'd just like to see the numbers. I mean, I can do it myself if
Yeah.
I take the calculator out. I just don't, do I have all the towns? Who's around us?
In
We
the
have
portal is the
Londonderry,
spreadsheet with all the towns.
Merrimack, Nashua.
Yep, it's got.
It would be nice to take the medium and use that as the marker.
Very
So
good.
something
Yeah, 'cause
like
we're right
5%
the
either
center.
way, and that's what we use as our
I
comparison.
like to look
'cause
at
that's what
ones
the
that are
real
kind of more
comparison
like
is.
us too, though, like
is the income
Amherst
level.
and small.
Yeah, but they have small, how's Amherst? What does that look like? Is that small?
Amherst is on there.
Pretty
They
high.
do.
Amherst
They
is
do
104.
Yeah.
Not that much fine.
104,
So maybe
yeah.
we just need analysis, I think, for tonight, go home and,
Oh, yeah, we need to
numbers.
look at it. Definitely
and
need
then
to
that
look at it.
50% threshold, like if we just upped it a little, does it get us to 70, you know? Maybe it's, how do we tweak it to get the most?
Okay, so that's it on the exemptions and credits?
Yes.
All right, moving off of so we have a lot more work to do on the proposed, but that's the start, so. The next up is the Town of Hudson ambulance, no, is that the right one? Yeah, amendment. Kinda lost
So
track.
the chief and deputy are here. I'd like to thank the town administrator and the selectmen in Hudson, for being amendable. The selectmen in Hudson have reviewed this. Hudson rewrote it, but ultimately it is the same that, we proposed. So I'll let the chief speak a little bit to the background of it.
So, within the ambulance agreement that originally was agreed upon a couple of years ago was the stipulation that we would have a paramedic on the majority of the ambulances. There would be occasions through training, sickness, what have you, that they would not have a paramedic available. But for the most part, they would provide us a paramedic, or what they call a paramedic intercept, where they would send from one of their stations, somebody would drive a paramedic out here to meet the ambulance to provide service. Due to the turnover that we spoke about earlier within the fire service, the town of Hudson has lost a lot of seasoned employees that have gone to larger departments surrounding them, and they've also done a lot of promotions, so either their paramedics have left or their paramedics have been promoted up to officer positions where they're no longer riding the ambulance. That leaves them with a handful of paramedics to cover 3 fire stations in the town of Hudson. So before we were guaranteed a paramedic out of the Robinson Road Fire Station, which primarily services us, there's only a couple shifts a week that they actually have a paramedic on staff at that station. Again, what I spoke about previously is now during the day, for the most part, we're guaranteed 2 paramedics with our 2 full-time employees. And I would say the other half, at least half of the week, we have a 3rd paramedic on duty. So what happens is when Litchfield, if we have a medical call and our paramedics show up and they start providing ALS care, you cannot go down in level of care. So if I go and I start treating somebody and Ed comes, because Ed's advanced above me, Ed can't turn care back over to me once he starts doing certain criteria. So the same happens when we go for somebody that's having a true heart attack or a stroke that requires a paramedic interdiction. Once the paramedic starts work, they cannot hand it back off to somebody of less training. And that's what's happening is when Hudson is coming in, they're at that AEMT level, which is, for the most part, their basic level of care that they have right now. So we cannot turn our patients, nor do we want to turn our patients back over to less care. But what happens is because because the person has been treated, once they get to the hospital, they're getting billed for those paramedic skills that were used. Hudson is reaping the financial side of the house from that when we're doing all the work.
Yep.
So it dawned on me that that was happening, and I didn't think that was right. So I tried speaking with the Hudson chief about coming up with some sort of a concept, because we always have at least 2 paramedics on. And as Ms. Kleiner stated earlier, our out-of-pocket costs as a town are going up from the uncollected funds. So I thought that there should be a way that we should be able to offset some of that by us getting some of that money back for the skills that we're providing that they're billing for. So we negotiated with Hudson. We did some research at communities around. It's a common thing. Bedford, Goffstown, New Boston, all the towns around us have what they call an intercept agreement, where if one of their paramedics has to intercept a ambulance that's not at the paramedic level, there's a $500 to a $750 fee that is charged to that service for the intercept. So we were able to work that out with Hudson, that no, they don't have to pay us $500, but they need to, at the end of our quarterly billing, we're gonna send them a list of how many times we send our paramedic, and they're gonna deduct $500 for each occurrence that's happened for the billing cycle.
Nice, good job.
Thank you.
They're okay with that? They acknowledge that they're struggling with
Well,
manpower, so
and the
they're
thing is, you
in
know,
a position to fight it.
no matter what, the town of Hudson is making money because the charge for the services that happen on average are probably, on the low end, $1,270. And then any supplies they use on top of that, which we're using our supplies. We're using our drugs and our equipment, and we're not recouping any costs right now.
Yeah.
So at least this way here, it gives us something. And they also have the option, if they don't want to pay us $500, to guarantee that we have a paramedic on the ambulance. So either way, they're not losing anything, but we're gaining something.
Very nice.
And yes, it has gone through their TA and the selectmen.
Nice job.
So I'll make a motion that we approve the First Amendment to the ambulance agreement with Hudson, that basically outlines Hudson's agreed to reimburse or credit Litchfield $500, otherwise known as the intercept fee, for any occurrences aforementioned and recorded for each quarterly billing cycle.
I will second that.
A little more discussion, I have one more question. So this runs consecutively with our other contract with them?
Just an amendment, yeah.
Right, just an addendum
Just an
to
addendum,
it.
okay, great,
Correct.
okay.
Any other discussion? So recap, motion made by myself, seconded by Mr. Gannon. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0-0. There's not a signed copy in here, but I just emailed you my signed copy if you want, or do you want me to wait for another signature?
Whichever you'd like, or we
I
can
didn't see
send
that,
it.
was there?
No, I didn't, I don't think, I think he's correct,
Okay.
Steve, I didn't. But I think it's just a chair,
It is just a chair, yeah.
yeah, so, yeah, I can send it back over, to Mr. Sorensen and he'll get their board signature.
Okay, I just sent it to you.
Thank you.
Right.
Nice work, and I'm
Thank you,
glad Hudson's
gentlemen.
willing to work with us.
Yeah, thank you, and I'd like to thank Ms. Kleiner, because she and I did a lot of hard work on it, and also the deputy and the Captain Kelly also had a lot to help out with it, so I'd like to thank everybody for their help in getting this done.
And now it's going forward, they have to keep a track of how many times,
Yeah.
because we're gonna reach out to them to
And
make
we're,
sure
we're
their
more than
bills are
happy
right.
to do it if it saves the town money for sure.
I heard that Paul's already doing it, so you're good.
Yeah, so Paul's gonna do it.
Very nice, thank you.
All right,
Thank you,
thank you,
guys.
have a
Thank
great
you,
night.
gentlemen.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
All right.
That's the good news, right
And that's
there.
a second creative thing that you have done here. No, really, I mean, just in a short amount of time, just raised money, that's awesome.
Thank you, have a good night.
All right, next up is the dispatcher supervisor. Chief, sorry for the delay. Kim, do you someone wanna introduce this? We're discussing the MOA.
So the Captain Tessier and I identified a void in our organization, and that we didn't have a dispatcher position within the agency. Supervisor, I'm sorry. And that position really, or that position should be there because the dispatch supervisor, rather than a sergeant, a police officer, you know, a police sergeant overseeing that unit, that there should be a supervisor in there because they understand the process, so they can handle the training and do the evaluations and even things like tracking things for us and doing administrative tasks for us that a dispatcher normally would not do. In addition to helping with, if we have issues or whatever, they're researching things that possibly could lead to or be part of an internal affairs investigation. So these should all be supervisor level jobs that a regular dispatcher is doing. So we went to the union and they agreed wholeheartedly that this should be, we did the math and said, okay, if we do a 7.5% raise over the top dispatcher pay, that would fill the space where a dispatch supervisor should be, because that's about what the spread is between the top police officer and a sergeant. So it keeps that same spread, and then it fits nicely into the slot of what are the officer levels as far as the contractual pay is, so we don't have to do any more math or create a new level, if that makes sense to you.
Makes sense to me.
So I just have to give one caveat. The contract ends at the end of July of 2027. If you can approve this, I mean, you certainly have the authority to do that, but if we get default, this cannot be considered part of the default because it wasn't approved by the taxpayers. So I just want, not that I'm concerned at this small amount, I just have to clarify that this one part of the contract wouldn't have been approved by the taxpayers, so it can't be in the default calculation.
So, and just to do the math for you, if we were to make the change today, which obviously I'm not going to do, we're looking at less than $1,300 through the end of the year, which we can certainly pay because we have some vacant staff positions. And then all of next year, which would be $4,795.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So our action here is to approve the MOA, right? If we agree. And the chief can decide how he does it when he wants to do it.
Can I make a motion? Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we accept this position of a dispatch supervisor to start effective upon review of the chief to the position, the person taking the position.
Well, I would just strike, we make a motion to accept the memorandum of agreement to be in effect as of September 7th, 2025, as outlined by the chief.
Okay, that's what my motion is. Thank you. Still working on motions
Do
101.
I have a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Ms., so motion made by Ms. Plansky, edited by myself, but and seconded by Mr. Cannon. Further discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. So do I sign this on behalf of the board?
Looks like it.
It's only got one signature, I would assume it, either us or, we didn't delegate permission to you during the motion, so.
No, I would assume that the chair should sign it and then the president of the union.
Okay, I just.
And I'm assuming that ASME Council 93 knows?
Yes,
Yes.
they were brought in for the meeting.
Thank you.
And there was a vote, like, confirmed with the president, last night, just to make sure.
I just sent you the signed copy. Okay, next up.
Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much.
gentlemen,
Thank you very
appreciate
much.
it.
Guys,
All right, standard power and, you know what we've completely forgotten?
No.
Public input.
We've been going on public input this whole time.
Yeah, I was
Would you
later.
like to come forward?
Sorry.
Come on up.
You wanna
Do
open
you
it
have
for
anything?
public input?
I'm gonna open the floor for public input at 8:48, and I'm
Remiss.
remiss in doing it. We've gotten on such a roll. And I know you've been sitting back and enjoying our meeting, so
Yes, I have.
come forward. Can you name and address?
Mike Parker, 12 Nesmith Court. I'm here to enjoy the meeting,
That's what I figured.
but I also have a comment about public input.
Yes.
I think public input, although you normally put it at the beginning of the meeting after 6:45, there should be a period of public input at the end of business. Because that way you can come here with something, but in the course of the meeting, if something comes up and you want public input, there ought to be time to give it as well.
That's fair. Yep.
Who does two? Is it the budget or the?
No, we used to do two. So
Okay.
historically, we had two, one in the beginning, one towards the end. No one was ever here in the end. So it became one of those things, do we even say it? I know when I was chair, and I think Bob has done it too, when he was chair, if someone's in the room,
Yeah.
we'll ask if you have any comment and we'll open the period up, because typically there is no one here. And I would say anybody who's watching, if they all send it at 9 o'clock, are really encouraged to come on down and have a conversation. Come on down, we'll invite you into the conversation.
Yep.
So, yeah, Mike, yeah,
It's
I,
around.
I was
Kim
just thinking
shared-
as-
I think, Kim, you shared the comment with me yesterday, I think, or a couple days ago, so I figured, I knew you were coming up for that.
Yeah, just as, kind of as a matter of policy,
Yeah.
in the agendas, because there will be plenty of times when folks will be here and they'll wanna talk during the session, and they're not supposed to, so
Yeah.
at least it gives them a voice at the end.
I like it.
It makes sense, we'll just throw it back on the agenda, so it's there as a reference, and if no one's in the room, we can bypass it. I think, like I said, it got taken off because there's no one typically in the room, and it's not that we're not encouraging the conversation, if someone's here, we will bring them into the
And
conversation.
some people have listened to what we've said and come down quickly.
Yeah.
Sometimes we just open up public input like at the end of the meeting.
No, you should raise your
Or
hand.
in the middle,
Hey,
or,
We got such a roll, and it was just all department heads, and like, I saw you back there, and oh, crap.
Yeah, no, because
Apologies.
I'm here till the end, I'm here to listen, so
Okay.
that's not a problem. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your input.
Anybody else would like to make any public input? Closing public input at 8:50.
I have a comment. Thank you for serving on capital improvement.
Okay, so I got past that little dilemma. So standard power and hydro program renewal. Ms. Kleiner?
Yes, so, this is actually a program that was initiated by Standard Power and your former TA. And so going forward, these have been 2-year contracts and you'll see, roughly, to date in 2024 and 2025, which we have one payment left in 2025, we've received about almost $3,000 in revenue, of which there's really no work by us other than we allow them to use our electricity wattage and our usage to calculate credits off of the hydro. And there's a couple of hydro plants nearby on the other side of the river. And so for us, it's good revenue. they're typically 2-year contract. Standard Power is asking for another 2-year contract, to do. And this is just group net metering, just like what you do on a solar, except this is hydro. So we'd like to sign up again. The contract ends at the end of October, so November would start a new 2-year agreement.
So November 2027?
2025, this November.
Right, so 2025 to 2027.
Yes.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve or extend the current contract with Standard Power and Hydro from November 2025 through November 2027.
So it's 2-year?
Yes, 2 years.
I'll second.
So motion made by Mr. Gannon, second by Ms. Queenan. Further discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0-0.
Get paid to do nothing?
I love that.
I would love
I
that.
would like some more of that.
Me too.
All right, town hall discussion. I believe this is related to the prisoners.
This is,
Yep.
so, the correction, department reached out to Chief Nickel. Chief Nickel, shared it with myself, and I've shared it with Rec, as well. The correctional facilities, prisoners, I guess you'd have to call it, we're currently painting in Hudson. So they're doing some work for the town of Hudson, and they reached out looking for additional work. In speaking with staff here, there was an ask to repaint the yellow a more off-white beige type of color.
So they're doing interior and exterior painting? whatever?
They're looking for interior during the
Oh, 'cause
winter
it's winter
months,
months.
yes. So, before we go to the of having our building inspector calculate the
So is
cost of the
it-
paint,
Is this a work study program type of thing? I mean, what kind of program, what kind of convicts will be coming in?
so
Is this
the-
something we can offer to the community?
Work release.
Work
Yeah,
release?
work release.
Okay.
Yeah, and the town's used it in the past,
Okay.
when it was a
Just-
viable
just
program
ask
in
it.
the past, so.
I think for this building was one of them, right?
Yes. Yeah, I know they painted the PD. I believe they painted the foyer area too. Not sure else they painted, but they definitely done work. I think they even, at one point, maybe even painted Dara or something like that at one point, a long time ago.
They painted Old Town Hall a couple of times.
And it suddenly just stopped before COVID.
We just
I think it
wanted
was.
to, before Matt goes to the calculation of determining gallons and, cause we'd have to pay for the paint.
Yep.
We just wanted to make
Is
sure
that
the
all we
board
pay
would-
for?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
I
Well, I
would
guess
say
we pay for
food.
pizza.
We usually feed them.
I like that too.
Food,
That's
yeah.
nice.
Before Mrs. Jewett would come down with sandwiches and hand them out and stuff like that. So. She was always fun about that.
Are all the walls the same color in the town hall?
They are this yellow and green,
Everywhere?
except there's some accent walls in various offices of a darker, like green, tealish color, but
So they'll all be the
So what-
same on
what
the
I'm
do
a
you-
big fan
what are
of
you
Harbor
thinking?
Gray.
What's the,
we
what about the
keep the
wainscoting?
green the same
That green
because
underneath,
the
is that the same
green
color?
matches the tile,
Yeah,
and obviously we wouldn't
Yeah.
wanna change the floors. We're just thinking making the top that
Lighter color.
lighter color, more of a beige instead of a yellow.
And you'll leave the like the green from the wainscoting down, the same?
Yes.
will they paint they'll refresh the green though, right? Repaint it all?
We could ask them to do
Yeah,
that if that's what.
You may get into a really shade variation.
Does it count as
I'm not a painter, I
beautification?
hate painting, so I don't even know.
We can't get the beautification, I'm just joking.
I know somebody with some painting experience that may have input on that. That's
Yeah,
pretty good.
somebody sitting at this
Pretty good
table.
with color and everything too.
Maybe in the supervisor role?
No, Jen?
Alright,
I'm busy.
Oh, we're not asking you to paint it. Just a
So, do you know,
recommendation of color.
what is the I assume it's less than $3,000 for the paint. Even
Yeah,
pizzas.
you know, I asked, and the estimate seemed to be like between $200 and $2,200, depending on what paint, obviously our professional's sitting there, so he could probably tell us
He's not working though.
what type of, if there was a preference to the board on what type of paint, what.
Just mum's word.
2,200's an awful lot of money.
It is.
Just paint.
You wouldn't use more than 10 gallons in this whole building.
Really?
Oh,
Wow.
To
See,
do
I would
the
have thought a
walls,
whole lot
to do
more
these
than
walls,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
Half the walls too. Well, this one's high, but
10 gallons.
And the town offices?
Yeah, 15 tops, but probably closer to 10.
Yeah, I mean, if you,
Up to 350 square feet to a gallon, so you're about 1,750 in a 5. How big's this building?
quick.
I'm looking at you, sincerely hoping you're not asking me.
Kim, you know everything.
No, I don't. Far from it. That's when I call Matt. So hold on, I've got Matt on speed dial.
Okay, so
So what? An average gallon of paint?
this
Forward.
is
30, 35?
Depends on what you get. You get
If
a
I go by
commercial
my
grade.
husband, it's like up there. But so, yeah, I don't think you're. By Bob's calculation, we won't be near 2,000. So.
Yeah. I mean, for free labor, food, and getting the building refreshed, at least in the public, if nothing else, in the public areas would be nice. I would say start that as a priority and then kind of work your way back as money goes away.
Okay, we'll get some swatches and perform some calculations. Actually, have Matt look at some paint and confirm it with you folks, and reach out and see what their true availability is, and then we can come back and update you.
This room is fully booked from October to the end of the year.
Right, except
Except
for
today Fridays
weekends,
are looking
and I
good.
don't know that they do it
Yeah.
on weekends.
They would do it on the weekend?
Don't know.
I know.
What
I
else are
said
they
I
doing?
don't know that
Just
they
sit here and keep the windows open.
What else are they doing?
So I'm saying
It's
it's
gym
booked,
day.
but hey, it's
But-
free. Well, we'll make it work, right?
There are areas, this room isn't as bad, but there are areas in the town hall where it
You would want to
be
refresh.
refreshed.
You would want to refresh this too, though. I think you would want to do both.
Okay,
When you're getting it done, or else this will look worse.
yeah, you're right.
Right.
Well, that's
Okay.
nice.
So I'd get 2 color swatches, one for each. There you go. Okay.
Alright, I'll reach
So-
out to the,
Do we need a motion? We have money in the mains line anyway.
we do have money in the general building, line, so that's where we were thinking. We really have been fortunate with this building that we haven't had any major repairs. The only major repair that I think
Don't
I
say it.
mentioned a few weeks ago, it's not major, I shouldn't say that, sorry, is
The water heater?
a few spots.
Oh, no.
Oh, there's a water heater?
I thought there was a water heater.
There was, you're right. That was last year though. That was,
Oh,
there's some areas where the siding is coming off. And I think Mr. Leary
What?
had an idea, I'm supposed to contact someone on the siding here. Yes?
I didn't say Pierre.
Oh,
I would've told you Brian
No.
Smith probably,
Brian Smith, somebody.
maybe, yeah.
But yeah, we should probably get that addressed as soon as we can.
He does big jobs, Pierre.
So, yeah, we didn't know who to contact. I had asked Matt to contact Kevin to find out.
Because I think Kevin.
Because it's falling off in
Figure out
in
Gavin's
many
on too.
different places, a strip here, a strip there.
Yeah.
But from what I understand, it's just click in place.
Yeah. Probably hanging nail.
We
maybe.
just don't have the siding. So,
It's 28-year-old siding, so interesting to see how we can get it to match.
Strip it off the back.
okay.
All right, so no motion required, but
Nope.
obviously if you go,
We
if you,
support it.
if you can't get it in the budget, then we gotta figure out how to pay for it and come back then. All right, next up is the contract for the auction of 20 Lock Mill Drive. Kleiner?
Long awaited. So, Mr. Brown and I, walked through, Lock Mill Drive on Friday. There's a considerable amount of clearing that needs to be done prior to the auction. It is quite overgrown, so you really can't even see the front of the house. So Mr. Brown thought that he and his staff could go over and at least clear it so it would be acceptable for auction. Our other reason for being there last Friday was to have the auctioneer walk through the property with us, because obviously there was personal belongings and furniture left in the home.
What are they gonna do with that car that was there?
The car has been taken by the police department and turned over to a towing company who will be auctioning it and sending the proceeds to the state. So, because there's been no probate opened on this, everything that gets any revenue, besides the 10% fee that the town is allowed to keep, the repayment of back taxes, and our expenses, that's what we're allowed to keep. Right now, we're estimating that to be a little over $150,000 that the town's got invested in this. Anything over that will be unclaimed property until a probate is opened. So that will get turned over to the Secretary of State.
That's so messy.
Yeah, this whole thing has just been messy.
Yeah.
When we walked through it with the auctioneer said that there is very little in the home of any value.
Because the people that were there probably did.
So partly because of our guests, and partly because there's been some critters. And guests, more guests.
I guess, for
And
guests.
so the pieces that would have value are most likely, safes, and those are in the basement and they're not gonna come out, so those would be sold and auctioned with the house. Anything else is really of not value and will be disposed of, unfortunately. So
The auctioneer's job to get rid of all that stuff, or whose job is it to empty the house?
So highway will be unloading with their dumpster the trash.
Now, when I watch this on Flippers, when they buy these houses that are foreclosed on, the person who buys it is responsible to go through and do all that.
Yeah, so any like furniture and large things like that will just leave, and it will be auctioned with the house, and the people that buy the house, that will be their responsibility. We're just gonna get rid of the trash. So the guests left a large amount of trash within the house, and so that's causing some of the problems.
Critters.
With critters, yeah. So highway's gonna go in and clean out that amount so that when people go into the house, it's just the furniture and leftover things. We also think that that's gonna be easier for people to picture what that house can be. It really, that house could be lovely. It has such good bones.
It's a nice neighborhood too.
It is, it's a beautiful and incredible neighbors. So we want some family to, move in and encourage not only to get the town's money back, but also for someone to,
And Kevin and Company's labor is covered in the $150,000.
so it'll be in addition to the 150, but yes, the town will get reimbursed
Oh, right,
for
okay, okay.
for the cost of Kevin's time. Even the cost of my time being over there, walking through the doctrine, all of that is eligible expenses.
Okay.
So Paul McGinnis, they did our auction for Cortland, a couple years ago. They did a great job. The way it works is we contract with them. They will spend, up to $3,500 in marketing. That comes off of the proceeds, so we don't have to put forth any money. They will market it for 30 days, and then the auction is all online. And so we saw with Cortlandt Street, it considerably brought in a larger, that was just really land. The house had to be leveled, and that was well over $250,000. So we expect that this will be a very successful auction. They'll market it for 30 days. The drop dead date, the date that we expect the auction to close, will be December 4th. And so legal reviewed this contract. It's the same contract we had on the 32 Cortland.
So we just need a motion to approve the contract or the agreement?
Approve the contract, and they will get started.
And who is the who is the signature? Can we authorize you to sign?
You can.
I'll make a motion that we approve the Paul McGinnis LLC agreement for sale of the, a real property at the auction site of 20 Lock Mill Drive, Road, actually. And here also authorize, our town administrator, Kim Kleiner, to sign on behalf of the town.
I'll second that.
Motion made by myself, seconded by Mr. Gannon. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0-0. Okay. Next up is Town Administrator Report.
So the first thing is, I think it's already been mentioned by the fire department, they have 2 new paramedics, which are both per diem. We also have, 1 new laborer part-time, on Saturdays at solid waste that is replacing, a laborer that we lost. And then we have 1 laborer that is returning. He left in May, and he is returning, so, no increase in overall personnel, just replacing. After the board's last, meeting where we discussed, having more information available for, residents on policy that we're working on, I developed a portal page on this portal that kind of walks through and talks about what the process is, first read, second read, blah, and I put the policies that are currently being worked on that portal, so that is available. Now I'll go out to the website, and I apologize. Did you want the page under the Board of Selectmen or under administration?
I would actually put it in both places so they can find it. Just
Okay.
link it in both places.
So I'll link this page to the website so that people can follow along. And now, before we do anything, as far as soon as we're gonna do first read, we'll stick it out on this for the public to see.
Yeah.
Good
So
idea.
that they know what's coming up and when it's coming up.
And then could I ask that we don't do PDFs, we do the actual live document?
Sure.
So this becomes a landing page for the board more so than the public also, but it's a great resource for the public. This is the way we can keep track of where the current state of the policies are that we're looking at and reviewing. But also if it's the live document, we have access to look at the version history to know what's been changing. So it's a way for us to see what work's been done on it and that kind of thing.
So we'll, sorry, I'm using the old language, track changes.
Yeah,
We'll put track
revision
changes
control.
on,
Revision control,
revision
yeah.
control.
It's
And-
native to the document anyway.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Board want editing
No, you can maybe give the board commenting access, but I wouldn't, it's so we can see what's being changed.
I think that'd be good too, cause then if the public looks at it, they'll notice, okay, yeah, they are listening to us.
Yeah, and we can find out how the document looks when it gets out there, but I think that's a good starting place just to land it there. It solves the issue of not knowing it's being done.
Yep.
We have two places we can go
Yeah.
reference. We have our working portal, our meeting portal, but we also have a place we can go every time to see what's going on.
Right, and I'm hoping, I mean, I kind of struggled a little bit on, but I think I put out there, what's an administrative policy and, the Board of Selectmen's, the Board of Selectmen's role in that policy and what's town meeting, what's, I think they just, and then our emails to the board, to me, to town hall, so that, and then here are all the policies, when their first read was, what the current status is. So, we'll certainly get more, and I'll make sure that there's pages under both those places on the website that links to this.
Yep, it's a good start.
And so, next, I lost my place. This is where I am.
3.
So rec published, their RFP for the fields. That is on the bid opportunities page of the website. Was also, noticed in the Union Leader. And Karen and I will work with them on the actual opening of the bids and documenting and getting them to the commission. New Hampshire DRA sent a representative down who was looking at our revaluation assessment data. So they send postcards, they pick a number of properties, they go out, they're checking our avatar. They collect that information, they've gone back, they send us a community report just to let us know they've been there. Once they look at all the data and determine what's correct, you'll get another report on, how accurate the data collected was. Weston and Sampson, so the next item is, a webinar that Weston and Sampson is having on Wednesday, October 1st, and this is, the reason this is important is this, Weston and Sampson is one of the consultants that's working with us on the Pennachuck. And PFAS right now is playing a lot into that conversation because DES is working with Pennachuck to put together a plan on the needs of water for the whole southern New Hampshire area. I will say that one of the concerns when Pennachuck East, merged was the cost of infrastructure. And so I have been following, the special water committee, which is in a place across the river, because that's where they discuss the funding that goes from the city to Pennachuck. And so it's important to follow those meetings as the city is their only shareholder. Or their, last, 2 weeks ago now, Pennachuck was at that committee and they got approved to bond 99 million. And I didn't make a mistake on the number. 99 million in additional bonding. So the city approved that. And how is that important? Well, that whatever bonding comes out in what we call the QPAC. And the QPAC is in addition to the rates that we already pay. So if they do additional bonding, and some of that 99 million was refinancing existing, but not all. Not most. So if they start bonding, then it gets filed with the PUC. So say next spring, all of a sudden we have another QPAC charge, which gets added to the rates. And this was the concern we had, was not the initial rates when they merged. Those look great. People are, I mean, some people are saying their water bill looks better than ever.
It's cheap right now.
Yeah. But that's because it doesn't have this big QPAC.
That's because they haven't started bonding again on top of this rate, and that's what will get us. And so,
Okay.
some towns have needs for new infrastructure because of the PFAS, and some have needs for infrastructure because their current infrastructure is way too old. And so now that cost is shared amongst all of us. So we'll continue. Weston and Sampson is continuing to, work on the study that they are updating, but it's a moving target, and that's the problem we're having, is every day this is changing. But that webinar is open to anyone who would like to, so if anyone is interested, let me know and I'll send you the link to sign up. MS4 report is done. I'm signing it, returning it to CEI tomorrow morning. Another year done. October 13th, Columbus Day. What do we want to do?
Why not? Everybody else is
Have a
working.
meeting?
Everybody else is working.
I won't be here. I'll be in Jersey.
No,
Town hall's closed, so if we want to reschedule your meeting, my only concern about skipping it would be that's when we should have health insurance information, so we most likely will need a meeting.
yeah, the problem is that when I look at the calendar going out, this room is booked
Always.
all week.
We could do a morning meeting though.
I can do a morning meeting, but no.
6 a.m. meeting?
I can be here. Do I have to
I can
get
be
dressed, or
here.
can I come in my PJs?
As long as I have a cup of coffee before I come over, I'm fine.
Exactly.
Next
I don't know,
week,
what's
next
the
week you have
board's-
to bring us all coffee.
What's the
Kim.
board's pleasure? But like I said, looking at the calendar, there is no time, because even next door's booked on Tuesday. Next door, Wednesday's booked on both sides.
I'm out
What
of
a
town
Friday.
that whole week.
A whole bunch of conflicts this week too.
Is it October 13th you're questioning, Columbus Day?
I could be here.
For Columbus Day? Yeah, I can too, that's why I said I'll be here.
I could be here.
You could be here?
I can be here.
I don't think,
If you wanna have
wait a
it,
minute.
you can have it.
I don't know if that's a
I
holiday.
don't think
at the-
there's
School?
no holiday that prevents, well, although, I don't know if John can get.
Let me just see, I don't know.
Kids?
I can get kids.
I don't think I.
They all wanna work.
I don't teach that day.
Yeah, that'd be no problem.
I have office hours
You
in
wanna
the
keep
morning.
it, we'll keep it and advertise that it's
If we
on.
can't get in at any other time, can you be here?
Well, the cable.
Yeah.
It's a holiday
we
for
can
you,
be here.
but you'll come in?
I'm not going anywhere.
You'll just,
Cable?
Yeah, he said he'll get it.
comp day.
I'll work at home, during the day if
Just
I
come in
need
for the
anything.
meeting.
I'll just come in for the meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's just try to make it
If
a
there's
short
important stuff
agenda.
that we need to talk about, we can just keep it quick,
Yeah.
So we'll
be
have
in and out.
Forum, right?
Okay.
So keep the agenda to, what, you're gonna have the health insurance
And stop
information.
sending crap this way.
I haven't sent you any crap lately.
Just everybody stop sending crap.
I haven't sent you crap in like a week.
Okay, only necessary.
Crap.
Yeah, only necessary crap.
Okay.
I use the word crap in
Okay.
a loving way.
Yeah.
No, I can be here.
Take note, I
You
will
can be
not be
here.
here.
I got you, yeah.
Steve will not be.
So it's the normal time?
Go to
Normal
Litchfield
time,
Yeah.
unless you want
Who
different.
goes
I can go earlier if you guys want, but I don't know about more. How's your,
Brewery.
are you off?
What?
Columbus Day?
I'm not off, but I'll be here.
Yeah, so normal time then.
Yeah, I'm not
All
off
time?
neither, that's why I'm like, I didn't realize it was
normal
Columbus
time.
Day.
All right,
Yeah. Okay,
look at us,
Catherine-
dedicated.
Can I ask if we can go an hour earlier, or is it impossible for you?
It's hard for you.
If it is. Is that too tough? I don't wanna put you on the
Maybe
spot.
do 6.
Yeah, I'm
I
fine
don't know
with
if I can make an
that.
hour early.
Is it gonna be a big meeting? I mean, is it just for
Well, yeah,
discuss?
we never know.
No, I know I will have health care, so, cause that's, Primex has to get it out. So, if I have health care, then there's gonna be a decision to make, and,
So keep it to,
So it might
keep it,
just
but
be
keep the
that.
agenda to vital topic.
Anything that's urgent, yeah.
Yeah,
They can't
because
wait.
other than that, we'll be 2 weeks after that before we can meet, so.
Yeah.
Good, I like that.
you can.
All right,
Thank you.
Catherine is working on the volunteer policy. I'm putting her, we gave her a Litchfield email address. I'm putting it here because she has not received any feedback from the community, and we know there were community members here, so if they wanna email her directly, it's her email address, it's a Litchfield email address, it's there. She is working through the policy, she watched the meeting a couple times.
Yep, good.
She's taking all that in. She developed a QR code with a short-term volunteer application that they can just answer questions I put that QR code on the policy-making page, so if someone wants to try it out, they can. And so she hopes that, she has something for the next meeting, which now is not gonna be the next meeting, cause it won't be October.
Well, she can certainly update the document so we can
Yeah.
reread it again. Okay,
And then we'll get it out there.
is that everything?
That's everything for me.
All right, moving on to selectmen reports. Mr. Leary.
Met on the 9th, right, yeah, cause we meet tomorrow. Discussed possibly having a couple of local ladies do a talent hall mural on the exterior of Talent Hall, or at least a portion of it. Put out the, bid forms for the field maintenance contract. On the floor, they started the work on the floor, but they found that when they were injecting the foam in between the dead spots, it was going all the way down through, so they need to come up with a solution for that, which mine was get underneath there and put plywood underneath. And then, other than that, really nothing much, other than they've got volunteer shirts they're ordering for some people and whatnot, so we meet tomorrow.
Ms. Plansky?
Last week was the Heritage Commission meeting. They approved, that the building on the end of Talent did not have historical content, so the builder is able to go to planning with that, I believe. Then the meeting afterwards was for the 250th, was not well attended. Our boards had representatives that were coming for the first 2 meetings that did not make it on Thursday. So we really do need constant participation by the boards to make decisions, to get people to be on the same page. We don't want to have the same people do all the heavy lifting. So if you were there, we loved you, and we would like you to come back. They haven't gotten a committee together yet with a chair or anything because of that. That was supposed to happen. Conservation has been busy. They painted the shed that left the back by the police station. They took it, they cleaned it up, they painted it red. It looks like a nice little New Hampshire barn out there in the community garden. There is a bee infiltration of ground bees that we have decided to leave there because they are pollinators. But they are horrific this year because of the fact that we've had so much drought. Let's see, what else? I actually got a little email, what other they're doing, but, oh, the small. They are. I didn't think they were. I had to look it up because Joan and I had collected 2-liter bottles to make traps for them, and then we decided not to because of that. Swans were placed.
They don't make honey, they're useless.
Swans were placed at Dara Pond to try and get them so that the geese will stop adding to our problem. The historic study is done with the intern at the muster field. They've done a nice sign there now with points of interest and a QR code to a mapping website, and that is just, it's a really, really nice sign. If you get a chance to go by and look at it, they've done a really great job. We also had a new gardener who wants to place regular beehives at the community garden, and that is another really cool thing. So I went by Wilson's to talk to them if whether we would be a problem mixing our bees with their bees because they bring bees in. And I talked to Keith, and he had absolutely no problem with that. And he's kind of, I think, happy about us being his new neighbor. So that's my thing. I think that's all I did. I'm sure I have done other stuff.
Sounds good.
That's what I did today.
Ms. Queenan?
All right. Capital Improvement met on September 15th. We had the recreation group come in, and they went over their open items and new items. They're going to do research on whether some maintenance items would qualify with the algorithm of the Mayberry study. Some may. We know Talon Hall may be looming out there in the future, like some replacement if years away, hopefully. So, never. Okay.
The
Then
Celtics
repairs
practice
will be
there.
needed, right? The school came in, and I don't remember how far they went out. They went out on their plan like 25, 30 years. I think I was looking at 2046 or some number like that, right? So they know, warrant articles are going to be coming, but they really put down everything they knew would have to be done on the buildings for maintenance or preventative. So I appreciated the transparency that they brought and willingness to work with us on that. Economic Development Committee, the final report was prepared and distributed to the Economic Development Committee members. We will meet this Wednesday, November 24th, and hopefully we can approve it and be done, or make some tweaks and still get it approved, as amended. So we're looking forward to that. So we meet Wednesday, 6:30 p.m. here at the Town Hall. I'll just give the PFAS quick and then NRPC. So PFAS Committee, they did have some preliminary studies on the medical that they turned over, which will be in the report that's coming in November. They really focused this month on food production. Apparently 3% of the food in New Hampshire is local. And what they're saying is the farmers want to participate in these studies for PFAS, but they're afraid to because if they are tagged, they may not be able to, get their food out to the groups they want. But they do want to help with it. The other thing is maybe COVID started it, but people want to know where their food comes from. So if they're starting their own bigger gardens at home, like on a can and all that, the fertilizer they're bringing in might be contributing to the PFAS problem. Because especially if it rains and the water runoff,
Yeah,
But again, they're doing it for the right reasons, and it is what that is there. Like I said, the final report.
It's so bad.
I know.
So bad.
The final report will be due November
Give way.
25th to the committee to the, I guess it's a housing bill, so to them. The state reps that are in the group are looking back hindsight-wise, when this group was studied and funded by the state, I guess they were focusing on the water, the problems, and what we could do about that. As the research has gone on for 2 or 3 years, they're starting to ask another set of questions, like food, other medical studies, but there's no funding for that. So how do you know? It's the first time you're in this problem, so they asked for certain money to study this, and now they're seeing other things they wish they could study. But just keep an eye on that. They feel like they're chasing, what they have to do there. NRPC, so I have 3 attachments here, you can look at them at your leisure. I'd like you to let's talk about the easiest one first. So, we had a full commissioner meeting, last Wednesday on the 17th. We did have Bill Watson from DOT come in. He reiterated everything I had told you earlier about the $200 million shortfall, mainly due to the construction costs going up 30% a year. I wanted those slides, but I received these slides. This first top one, anything in orange, anything in yellow, they're going to keep the projects. I think orange, yeah. There's 15 more projects also, if maybe toll hikes go in. We're in the gray area called there, the project is out. So if you do a look for Litchfield, you'll see the one, unfortunately, Route 3A Corning Road had to be pulled. So this is just giving you an idea of the projects they're staying. What I didn't tell you, because I just found out last week, was some of the projects they looked at, they have to do because we have taken some money from the federal government on some, and if we don't finish it, we're gonna have to pay back $130 million. And we don't want to do that, so some of the projects will continue on. So this is a list for you to look at of that. Let's go to the easiest one here, is this Kearsarge Energy. Someone from Amherst said that this energy would save them $18,000, and I don't know if that's through the duration or the year. Is it all right if I ask him to call the town manager over there? Because they came in front of us and they were giving us $300 a month. So I don't know if it's, like you said, it could be an algorithm of population. I don't know. Amherst, I don't know if they're that much bigger than us, but is it all right if she reaches out to the town manager over there and figures out why they're getting $18,000 and we're getting $3,600?
Yeah, so this is one of the companies that the Energy Committee had come in and they looked at, and we didn't bring it forward to you because the amount wasn't
I remember this one.
high.
Yep, I remember this.
So, we are kinda a little
Confused.
perplexed on why Amherst would be getting.
Yeah, because they're no bigger than we are.
And there were 2 or 3 other towns in the room saying, yeah, they're great, take a look, so. But back to the DOT one up above, Litchfield, one reason I joined NRPC years ago was like, well, first, do you remember Tom that we used to be on the,
Conservation.
no, he used to be on the planning board, Tom, what was
Oh,
his
yeah,
last
Tom
name?
Young?
Yeah, he brought me there, you're gonna go, okay, so I go, but it took me 2 years to figure out what they actually kinda did, and then I'm sitting there like, why doesn't Litchfield get any money? So we started to learn the granting process and all that. So, we don't have any other items on this list. We have tried for sidewalks a couple of times, right, on the Pine Crest. This is where those block grants come into play, when you have to write grants specifically for certain things. It's a pain to do, it's tough to track, that's why we want the bigger block grants. But anyway, we should, if we can think, try to get some on this list anyway, because if you get the engineering approved in the right of way, when money does show up, and sometimes it comes out of nowhere, you're ready to go, right?
Yep.
So, just keep an
Timing
eye out
those
there.
grants, as you can ask Jason,
It's tough.
it was tough.
But
It
if we have something ready, hey,
Yeah.
maybe, and this one's still ready. We might need an update on the numbers, 30%, but it's ready to go, right? All the justification's been done and approved. So, we'll keep an eye on that one, hopefully, and the sidewalks. More that was to connect all the 3 schools, right, the sidewalk. The last one from NRPC, I thought this was interesting, anyone around here, if you can open up that slide, Joe, called Rejuvenating Valley. So DECA was the company we all know around here. He has many companies, but, so this is she came in to speak. This is Manchester. If you go to the second slide, that's what used to happen in the old mills, right? Obviously, if you go to the next slide, that's the new stuff going on in the mills, right? So they put in for a grant, and notice New Hampshire was selected. Very few were selected, okay, on this grant to start to build a technology hub in the Manchester area, okay? You can see New Hampshire has that. So why I brought this here, just so you understand, so we have economic corridors that we look at, but one that's emerging in the Manchester area, we have, obviously DECA, this bio company is coming in here to do skin, bones, blood cells. I'll show you the slides in a minute. We have BAE here, you know, we're really starting to get a technology hub and a lot of supporting companies around it. So what they're doing, if you go down, first of all, let me just explain why they would use DECA. Once these small companies start to make these products, DECA wants to be the one to rapidly manufacture them. They get them out there quickly. Not saying they don't also do R&D, but they want to be a mass producer of this. So they're looking at, if you look at the chronic diseases, the kidney, the lung, the heart, all of that. The Army is what DECA is working on. So unfortunately, in war, if we have amputee or someone's jaw gets, you know, a problem, they're looking at regrowing the bone and the skin and helping. So a lot of tissue work is going on there. So you can skip through, but what they're willing to do is train people in the area who have no experience and start getting them in and start helping them get into these jobs. So again, if I'm on the one in the middle, it says Army. Even though Army's in the middle, they're helping everybody else, you know what I mean, with all these other smaller companies. So what they're going to try to do is come in with a holistic solution. I'm not saying it'll work, but at least they're trying and they're investing in it. The housing, the daycare, you know, the training. They're trying to look at the whole region to make it all work together and not everybody working independently. So that's that little picture in the middle where it's $88 million to that little circle going on. You see, you've everyone on the same page? So they're trying to make this work. Yeah. And Dean Kamen doesn't want to sell it for money. He wants access, people to have access to what they need. So I love that motto. All right, so anyway, that's what we talked about. So just keep that in mind when we're on these Economic Development Committee meetings. You know, this stuff is trying to happen in the region. All right, so the only thing I will ask is I heard about ADA accessible. Did I see ADA in here somewhere, the word ADA? In the year 2027, April 2027, is it on the website? Your website, yeah. So ADA. So apparently, Merritt Garland of DOJ from the last administrating signed an order that by April 2027, all of the town governments around the country have to have ADA accessible on the website. Yeah, but it's harder than it thinks. So I know our state is asking for. Can we only do 90%? Because if you can't see or hear, what they have to do is, if you have a chart show up, you actually have to explain, the chart shows this, the color of the graph is this, you know, it's hard. Or if you have something you're reviewing that compare this contract to the old contract, you've got to read the whole old contract out, you know. It's really labor intensive. Yeah. So towns are taking things off their website. It's one reason they're, but anyway, you need time. Somebody had suggested from our town that since it was a DOJ under the past president, maybe the current president could change it, I don't know. So they're looking at that. So anyway, just be ready on our side here. I know the state has to do it as well, but it looks like the local towns have to get ready.
Like Kim was saying, that's one of the reasons why we transitioned to the platform we're on.
Right.
So the site was built to be ADA compliant. The unfortunate part is a lot of content we put up there is not. Like, when we put up a PDF of a document that people want to be able to read, we don't have the ability to make that ADA compliant, the raw document. But
yeah, they have to recreate these documents. They have to save them in like a PDF
won't
that's
that be
current
something
with
an
Acrobat
AI
Reader.
function could do?
It's a lot of work.
Isn't that something an AI function could do?
Well, yeah, an AI can read it to somebody. You could take, but that means someone has to be able to pull the document down and upload it to the AI to do it, right? So
Rather than having to read it all
Well,
aloud.
some
Well,
tools
that's
can
true.
read, but some can't, and you're gonna have to recreate the document to current,
Does it
so
have
a
to be
kid.
a PDF Acrobat? document?
No, it has to be in PDF standard for things to be able to read it. Acrobat is not.
So add
It's
that to
one
our list of
reader,
next
read
year.
it. Yeah, many of them.
Unless
Well, you
it
can take a
changes.
native PDF and upload it to any AI, and they can summarize it and tell you exactly what it says. But
Come
I'm,
look at me, I'm not doing it.
I'm more concerned about a lot of like, even our meetings are recorded, well, that's not idiot. We do have subtitles, they can hit the subtitle and read it, but I don't know,
Is closed captioning on the AI?
there's closed captioning on the web, on the, YouTube videos.
Good.
Yeah, YouTube does it.
At least it's something, right, but,
Yeah, there are.
it's a huge task.
But it's a huge burden to government entities only because, one, technology lags all the time, and two, it's a resource constraint because we get raw documents from all kinds of sources. We can't go off and recreate them in a format that can be readable, right?
That's a full-time job.
Yeah, it's probably more.
It's very
staff.
expensive.
Yeah,
Very expensive.
but
Unless
we
they
have all the
come,
stuff in record.
unless they come with that, like in the future, if the document
Yeah.
comes to us with
Yeah.
that option.
But I think the states do sooner, but the towns are due April 20th, something
It's
next year.
population, so if you're below 50,000, it's 27.
Is that what it was? Yeah.
Yeah, if you're above 50,000, it's 26.
I started getting emails from other
Good.
civic website type companies
Yeah.
giving me the date going, you better get ready. Like, we
Yeah,
already did.
I'm getting them too.
Yeah, scare tactics, yeah. Anything else, Kim?
I was just thinking, because I'll admit I forget, I do forget. And that means you can't forget if everyone goes with, all of our agenda items, when we set the agenda for our meetings, can we put that reminder to let the committee know about the 250th? I know it's really not, I don't know. Is that a? do you wanna
It
do
would
that?
be nice, yeah,
Because
because,
I'll forget.
What do you mean?
So like if I go to capital improvement, right, if it's on the nightly agenda, I
Oh,
could
to
repeat it
remind
as an
people,
item,
yeah.
because I
I can
will
do that.
forget, and
Yeah.
I don't want to forget, but I do.
yeah,
In some ways, Diane did it, but now it's already kind of late in the day, so.
Is that, could you, I don't know, I'm putting it on you to remember that, but
Oh.
who makes the
I'll-
agendas, you?
Well,
Kim.
leave
guys-
for
they need support.
CIP and,
Well, I'll tell it, well,
Economic
remind me to remind you. Yeah, we work together.
Okay.
The chair is responsible, the
Yeah.
chairs of all the committees are responsible. Kim certainly helps out with ours big time,
Yeah,
so.
that's what I
yeah.
mean.
All right, anything else?
I forgot something.
I don't think so.
Can I add one quick thing? For God's sake?
Lucy's got somewhere to go too.
No, okay,
No, go
fine.
ahead. No, go ahead.
I'm
go
gonna cry.
ahead.
It's a really fun thing, though. I told you guys that we were gonna get together with, police, fire, superintendent, and Jen Grantham about the service dogs.
Yep.
And the meeting went really, really well. Kelly brought her dog with her, to the meeting. Really nice chocolate lab. And Jen Grantham was there and very excited about adding a service dog to the middle school. We might have some problems with the SRO, with the police, because of different requirements that they might have. But Kelly really wants to get like a whole group of comfort dogs that would work in the community, within the community, with dogs that she's donating. So that meeting went really, really well, and I love the fact that the police and the fire were working together, and the superintendent were there and all, working together. It was a feel-good moment for something that I love to do, so that's going forward.
Okay.
So that was quick.
It's quick and easy. Last planning board meeting, I was out of town. There hasn't been an energy commission meeting in a while. The next planning board meeting is October 7th, and I am in town that week.
Okay. All right, I have, budget committee is Thursday night. School facility was last week. Again, they've just been talking about the process. They're going through the reviews. They're working with the selected developer, or contractor, so things are going away there. And then, obviously, I think I asked Bob, I'm not gonna be able to make the next budget meeting, which is next week. They'll be out of town for a previously scheduled way with my wife. I can't change it.
I'm out of town as well.
So I do
can't
need
do it,
someone, if Bob is not able to do it, I will need somebody to cover, or I can just say we're gonna pass. But that is a budget, presentation night. So the first night, the first half of the agenda is gonna be this Thursday. The second
Oh, I
phase
can't be, I'll be in Florida. I can't. Or I would.
But anyway, we'll figure it out. Bob's gonna check his schedule. Hopefully Bob can do it. If not, we'll have to figure something out. But,
I go to Florida.
that's it for me, really.
but the department heads will be presenting, so if there's no,
Correct. They don't typically make decisions then. They're going to, ask a lot of questions, so. I know that sometimes they'll make a quick decision, but usually they'll wait till,
Not usually till after the whole presentation.
but, we'll deal with it. And obviously, I'll watch it and I'll be caught up for the next meeting. It's not a big deal, so but if Bob can make it, that would be really, really good. That's all I have. I think that concludes our public business. As I mentioned to the board, I do have a short non-public we need to hold to discuss a few things, one thing. It will be under the same RSA that we had our original, meeting this morning, or at 6, sorry. So I'm gonna make a motion that we go into non-public under RSA 91A:3, Roman numeral 2, Section A, the dismissal, promotion, or compensation of any public employee or discipline of such employee, or investigation of any charges against him or her, unless the employee affected, 1, has a right to a public meeting, and 2, requests that the meeting be open, in which the case, the results shall be granted. Do I have a second?
So moved.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carries 5-0-0. We'll go into non-public effective at 9:47 PM.
Good night.
We will only be ending this meeting to adjourn. Everybody in Litchfield, have a great evening, and thank you.